right, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality. Yeah. You know the rest. Join us. Mm-hmm. Got yesterday's show playing in the background there. Still at the house today. A little better day today than it was yesterday. It got up to, I think, what is it? The temperature right now isn't very high. I can tell you that. Hmm. Computer doing some weird stuff. See if I can get the chat up here. Here it goes. What do we got? 70 people in here now. People start coming in. Yeah, we got a couple inches of ice on the road yesterday. And some people, like my friend Big John, he was videoing himself driving around in it. And I have three 4x4s all together. Tony's got one, and I got one, and Anthony's got one. So we all have 4x4s. But yeah, so that helps. But in one of our SUVs, you can like set it to like a slippery mode for ice. And well, they have one for rain and one for ice, and it actually does help. But I don't 100% trust that you're just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to set it to the ice, and you know what? We'll be great. This is just going to switching this to the ice mode will save us. I'm a little bit dubious on that. I don't. So I got some interesting things today. My cousin, one of my cousins, I have two cousins named Don. Now, one of them, his name is Donnell. Don. We call him Little Don. And then my other cousin's name is Donnie. Donnie was the bull rider. He's the one that was a rodeo clown. My other cousin, Donnell, he's a crazy little hellraiser. But he is living in Thorndale, not far from where my ranch is. But he actually is working in Midland in West Texas. And he's working out there in the oil fields. But he's doing electrical work for the people who work in the oil fields, I guess. But he sent me something interesting. And this is going to tie into something that we're going to talk about. There was a woman named Lola who lived in Taylor. She lives in Hutto now, but she used to live in Taylor, Texas, where I'm from. And in the year it was in 2000 when this happened. She was, because I might have talked about it on the show a little bit or whatever, but I got like the details of the case now. And so she was actually chased by a werewolf looking creature, whatever you want to call it, back in 2000. And so wanted to do her story. And it's interesting because today my cousin Don sends me footage of what looks like a ghost or some kind of phantom or something. And we get more people in here, and I'll show you on the phone, but we're going to put it on the screen. And we'll probably be talking about it probably on Wednesday. Tomorrow night is the Patreon live stream, and we're going to do the live stream, and it's going to be about Bigfoot in Arkansas. And it's just going to be different Bigfoot reports and the nature of reality in Bigfoot. And that's going to happen tomorrow, and then it's going to continue on the following Tuesday on Patreon, cases and stories that you won't get on YouTube. And they're pretty good. We had some pretty good ones. We had some people sending us some pretty interesting stuff. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. And we could have gone on and on with Oklahoma. I mean, it was ridiculous how many stories we had. I don't know, Anthony, he's in the kitchen. I don't know if you can hear him. But how many reports did we have of Oklahoma? Like 30? No, wait, more, about 50. At least 50. Now, I'm going to be honest. We poached some of those from other pages. I mean, but we did reach out and try to get in touch with as many people as we could. But, I mean, we did end up talking to multiple people. I would say there are – I have it down here. There's the notes. Hang on. That's why you got to show up on a Monday, because there's so much information is disseminated on Mondays. Yeah, I got an email from this dude, man. You want to hear something funny? I was waiting for people to get in here. I'll read an email to you. This guy. It sounds like he used AI from the medieval times to insult me. Like he sent an insulting email, and then he ran it through AI to make it sound like he was thou from the medieval time kingdom place. So I'll give him some brownie points for creativity. You got to insult people, you got to do it right. So I was sitting there going like, "Thou hast offended me, sir." It's like, what is this? Medieval France, medieval England. What are we doing here? We must joust. I will seen thine arse on the field of battle. Yeah. Who are these people? These are the people that go around trying to get girls to hang out with them at the Renaissance Festival. I'm convinced of that. This guy who goes to the Renaissance Festival, he's like, "Milady, would you like some ale?" She's like, "That's Bud Light." "No, it's ale. It is ale. Thou'st non-binary person was the spokesman for thine ale that I drinketh from my libtard cup. I'm totally." She's like, "Yeah, get away. You're giving me small Vienna sausage energy. Get away from me." "Vienna? Yes, you mean Vienna, Austria? I have kinfolk there. Thine could be there by the morrow. We could leave by the morrow anyway and be there in the fortnight." She's like, "Yeah, I could fly there in 8 hours." "What is this flying you're doing? This wench speaks of fly. Oh, thou'rt a witch? By the way, I love witches and all things manner of evil and vileness. Yes. Genital mutilation, whatever." Whatever. He's with. "I'm with the militia of Minnesota. Governor Waltz is my liege. He's doing a fine job." "He's here in my pocket. Do you want to talk to him?" Here I am. Where is Stumpkin? Here I am. That's Tim. Changing my tampon. Sorry, man. Enough of thine skits. We must get. This is unscrupulous behavior from a YouTuber. Master Richards, how are you today?
Sir Timothy Tampon, how are you?
The Timothy Tampon. Here I am, Thumpkin.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man.
By this dude, man. And I look at this and I'm going like, this dude ran this thing through AI and wanted to sound like he was from the probably the 60s, the age of exploration. He wanted to be from the 1400s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was so.
Lame?
Yeah, it was pretty ludicrous, man. It was. I just couldn't believe that this person would be that stupid. Um, yeah, and I'm stupid. I shouldn't have fed into it, but it was just so, it's a
How can you
low-hanging,
not? You got to troll the guy on his retardedness.
yeah, low-hanging fruit. And he says that he was offended by mine posts on the face of book. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I told this guy yesterday when I was scrolling through Facebook. Okay, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Hello.
So yesterday, while I was scrolling through Facebook, I ran across a woman who's a friend of mine, dressed up as a Soviet officer.
Great.
Right, and I guess she likes the Soviet Union. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of death. And then a lot of people know this person. So I didn't say anything. I just went past. Another woman was talking about, if you support Trump, get off my page. I hate you. I'm going to have my friends do something to you and beat you up and all this other crap. And I just was like, well, I better walk away. And, and then another person was talking about how great the Aggies are. I can't stand them and they make me sick. Another person was talking about how the 49ers should have been in the Super Bowl. And a lot of really dumb things were being said yesterday. It was like a carnival of just cretins saying and doing stupid things, And I was watching, I was just looking, there were people making videos and talking about how ICE is a terrorist organization. And there were people that were saying that California literally is the greatest state and that we should all be like them. I mean,
Wow.
I was knee deep in the shit yesterday. And it was like every single one of these, I just went past it. I ignored it and I scrolled along. So I told this guy that the scribe that sent me the message, I told him, I said, dude, you could easily just keep scrolling. You don't have to stop and scrutinize what I say. Joe Rogan said something that I didn't like. I just said, oh, I don't like that. Not like, go away,
Yeah, but he's like 5'3".
It's very easy to just move along. You can mosey along. You don't have to sit there and linger and go, you know what? I'm going to attack this man. And literally his message to me was like, like the way he was wording it, he was like, I saw your Facebook and I was quite offended. I was compelled to voice my opinion, as is my right as an American. I have as much right as you do. And I'm like, okay, I never said you didn't. What is this? What are we doing here? And he's like, these people doing the things that they're doing, this evil organization you support. And I said, when did I ever come out and say I supported these people? I don't know what you're talking about. And, obviously he doesn't look at the whole facts or whatever. He's going on his emotions and his feelings. And hitherforth thereto, thine Facebook shall be blocked. I no longer participate in your channel and blah, blah, blah. I've had enough of your right-wing extremism.
I've had a lot of that too, believe it or not. That's the reason why I don't go to the fur cons much anymore.
I'm telling you what, man.
Missing out on them yift parties, bro.
I had one question for the guys. I said, this is what I told him. I said, and I'll put him on blast. I don't care. I shouldn't probably say his name. I don't want to people go after him or whatever. But I told him, I said, look, B, okay, I'll say the first letter. I said, look, B, I said, I'm not going to put you on blast or anything. I'm going to tell people how ridiculous you are because it's hilarious. And he's like, I would expect nothing less from you. You're a rogue.
He called you a rogue?
Yeah, rogue. Yeah.
Awesome.
You didn't come up with that yourself. ChatGPT gave you. So I told him, I said, when you go to the Renaissance festivals and you hit on, miladies, I was like, did you all share the tampons, or how does it? Do y'all have the same? Do you borrow from them, or how does? And this guy's like, I am a man, sir. I said, you're a man, but do you believe that there are men and women? And guess what he said?
He's like the type of dude that believes men can get pregnant, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. He said that a man and a woman can be whatever their mind wants them to be.
Oh,
I want myself to be a billionaire, but I'm still not able to will that into existence. I've been trying.
Hey, I got to start with something easier.
it'd be funny to see you fight him in one of those night matches where you get dressed up in armor and you go at each other with like
Oh, I
halberds.
love that, dude. I
Yeah, I
want
love
to
it
do
too.
that like for real. I don't want
Yeah.
to know. I want
You
to
see-
do a match like that where someone can actually get their leg or arm cut off. I'm all for that, dude. If you can cut my head off, do it, dude.
Oh,
Like, I'll
I
put
think
that
you
shit
can
on
actually
for
do
real.
that in Texas, bro. In Texas, you can actually
I
call
looked
somebody out
into
and
it.
catch them.
Nah, you can't. See, what got me was the ops were trying to say that I was afraid to fight. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to bring up bad blood or whatever. And me and him don't have any problems, but they said I was afraid of that dude, and I was like, no. What happened was I talked to my lawyer. Well, a lawyer. He's not really my lawyer, but I talked to a lawyer, and he said no. In the state of Texas, if you hurt that person or whatever, you could still be held liable. And so I was like, oh, so no more, the waiver. I thought that, you sign the waiver, you could just beat them up, do whatever. No, you actually can't, because if you
Full due
hurt
process
them,
at the end of the day.
yeah, you're still going to be liable. You're on the hook for killing them or whatever. So I said, oh, okay, well, we're not doing that then. And I didn't want to go to jail. But that's what happened. And the ops were like, he got scared. He's scared. Man, I ain't scared of nobody, dude. I'm not scared of that dude or any of them other people. I wish I could fight them all at one time. And it would be great, dude, if we could do it gladiator style. I would like to have armor and stuff and just go in there with axes and pikes, and whatever. I always felt good with an axe or a sword, It just, I'm strong as hell. I can swing a really big, heavy sword. So it would be over, dude. And if that armor is not thick enough, whoosh, cut you in half. You'd be like Darth Maul.
My favorite gladiator is the guy with a net and a trident.
The Myrmidon?
Trident guy. I don't know what it's called, but they had a net and a trident.
Yeah, there was another name for it too. What was that called? They called him something else too.
Yeah, they have that night fighting league in Russia where they actually go real hard and they use real weapons and that.
Yeah, dude. Russia's got it going on. That's where all the cool shit is, dude.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can handle the snow and the ice. You can go in there and do whatever. They have these fighting leagues where you'll have like 20 on 20 and they'll just beat. Dude, I would do so well at that, dude. Because
in the forest where they go out in the forest. Yeah.
Yeah. I could knock out 3 or 4 of their main guys real quick, dude, and give us the upper hand, man. I used to do that all the time at the club, man. Just knock out 3 or 4 people, man. I mean, you don't necessarily knock them out cold, but you knock them down. And once they're down, that's the main thing. Just get them down. And then, people can do whatever,
Dude, I saw this one match where it was that fight in the forest, 20 versus 20, and the one team had a chick on it, and the chick was one of like the last 3 people standing, man. She was so tough. It was unbelievable. It was and she was hot too.
It sounds like nobody was trying to hit her, dude.
Oh no, they were holding her down and like kneeing her in the head and shit like that. Like it was brutal.
So they were beating her ass and she still got up and did all that?
Buddy got up again and again and again. If I can find that footage, I'll send it to you.
I don't believe thine words. I need to see this.
All right, I'm a rogue and a liar then.
Proof of this.
Do mine eyes deceive me?
Hey Wolf, Elder Bear Claw's in the chat right now. Sorry for interrupting you guys' conversation, but she wants to know if you received her box of goods.
Yeah, we got Elder Bear Claw's thing, right? The box. Can I see it? That's it right there. We got it. Yeah.
I just want to ask you that.
Let's confirm it. Let's make sure we got everything there.
Because she's in the chat and she asked.
This one's mine. I opened it, but everything else.
Which one is yours?
The one on top.
A lot of boxes.
The nice one, huh?
Yeah.
That's the one you chose.
Yeah. Oh, that's the dream catcher.
Elder Bear Claw, you gave it to the pretty one. The pretty one gets this. Or I should say the ugly one gets the pretty one, right? There's a pretty one here too. What is this one? Look at this one. Oh wow! Look, see, look at that. These are so nice.
Wow.
Thank you, Elder. Those are from Elder Bear Claw.
Oh wow!
Mommy, you did a good job on it. Look at those; are pretty. We're gonna do some giveaways on these.
Wow.
Oh man, yeah, good job. And there's some other stuff in here too. I need to go over. We'll go over that, and we'll. So the top one's yours, Anthony. The pretty one. You get the pretty one. You ugly bastard. There you go. Take it. Tony and Anthony were having an ugly off yesterday, Bear Claw. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that was gross.
They couldn't decide who was uglier. Richard, be quiet, man. If you were involved in it, you would have won hands down. Be quiet, okay?
All right, fair enough. Put a 1 in the chat right now, ladies. You know what that's for.
What's going on, Sigma Wolf? How you doing?
Going on a little stroll in this 5-degree weather we have.
Yeah. So this Sigma thing that comes from you're not an alpha, but you're not a beta, huh?
I have no problem following or leading.
Me neither, dude. I'll follow a strong person if they're worthy of leading, but as soon as they're not worthy of leading, I can't do it.
Please
You know?
take the point.
But leaders make mistakes. One of the things people make, they'll be like, "Oh, that guy's done. He made a mistake." People make mistakes, and then they gotta, you gotta reconnoiter. You don't just throw your leader to the wolves because they don't, do something you like. You have to back them up. But if it keeps happening, then it has to be a change. The day comes that I'm up here, and I'm up here not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, it's time to go somewhere else. And I'd be the first one to tell you, hey, man, it's time to bounce. I'm not worthy of being a leader.
At Paranormal Roundtable.
I'm not, I'm kind of like, what's his name? Jack, what is it called? What was his name? The author, I read his books, White Fang and Jack London, right? Yeah. The lefties always try to claim him, but he was very much in the right. And he was one of those people, that,
It's observe and stay quiet.
So what do we got tonight? Who's got stories for us tonight? What do we got? What are we talking about here?
I got one for you. So back in 2024, I've been going through some weird stuff, man. Like, I'm sorry, do you want to go first?
I'm going to jump off here. I'm getting really cold. Yeah, I didn't think this was going to work out very well, but I have no gloves.
Where you at, Sigma?
Ohio. Yeah,
Oh, God. Get to some shelter soon, man.
Yeah, I was a dick, I was standing in my driveway with no shoes on. Just to see if I could do it.
So I didn't hear that, buddy.
And remember I told you I was still in my driveway with no shoes on?
Oh, yes. That's hilarious, Lawrence. That's hilarious, bro.
We got like
How long did it take you to shovel the driveway?
2 hours.
With no
and then
shoes
I went
on?
and helped you. You're still bad. And it's just going to keep getting worse.
We didn't have to shovel our driveway. We just had to break all the ice up.
You shoveled the driveway for 2 hours with no shoes on, and you can't handle a little walk with no gloves?
No, not for 2 hours. No, it was only for about 20 minutes. And then I went and got my boots.
Look at Richard always talking trash, man. Richard, be quiet, man.
I'm teasing him.
He sits there eating Tim Hortons in his little warm ass house and talking shit.
I'm almost
Lawrence is my boy.
so deep. I don't know if you guys can see. Kind of. Well, I'm definitely knee deep. Richard, you said it's been 3 foot of snow out there for a long time, huh?
Oh yeah, since the start of December.
Dude, we got this in one night.
All right.
Dude, it's been 8 years. A lot of snow.
Yeah, that is
here's a weird thing for you, Lawrence, and everybody that's in the chat. Texas has been getting hit with this shit every year. And it's been happening every year since like 2019. And it's really weird. Or in 2018, we built a snowman, and it hadn't snowed in Texas. I guess before that it had been 5 years or something. And then it snowed. And then in 19, we didn't get a lot of snow. We got a very little. And then in 20, it got really cold and we had like 4 or 5 freezes where we usually only have like 2 or 3. And then in 2020, or 2021, we had that snowpocalypse where we had like 3 feet of the shit or whatever. And then we got hit again in 2022, 2023. And then last year, it snowed very lightly, but it iced over a couple times where I was heading to the ranch and I had to go slow. It took me like, a normal drive out there, 40-minute drive, took like 2.5 hours going 4x4 through the ice. So this is like every year. And still they managed to have the power grid go down for 130,000 residents. Not here, but in different parts of Texas. And I'm like, how can you not, after all these years of this, since 2018, you're telling me you can't figure out how to fix the grid and go, hey, this keeps happening. And then they're like, oh, it's going to be a mild winter. And then it's 12 degrees. Well, now, I mean, I know you guys that live up in the north, that's normal for you. I mean, like you got that really cold, whatever. But 12 degrees is cold for anybody. I don't give a shit who you are.
Absolutely.
Out there. I mean, so it got down to 12 degrees, and I'm going like, dude. And then the one year it got down to below 2 below 0, and I'm like, people in the north are like, oh, we do this every year. Yeah, well, we don't go down to 0 or below 2 degrees, whatever.
Yeah,
everything was blowing up and popping and breaking and shit because we are geared toward the hot weather. But I tell people there is an extreme temperature jump here in Texas. We have really, really, really hot weather because I'm telling you, what is this, January? So February, March, April, May. So 5 months and it'll be 100 degrees. 4 months and it'll be in the 90s. So that's not very long. But in the wintertime, it gets down into the teens almost every freaking year. And these people are acting like, well, I moved here thinking it was warm. And I've told everybody this over and over again. It is an extreme climate here. You get really, really, really cold. People die. People die every year in the cold. And then they die in the heat. It just happens every year, man. The heat is 103 and the cold is 11 degrees. I mean, it's extreme. It is extreme weather. So if you don't like that and you can't handle it, or if you can't work in it, don't be here, because I've been working in the heat and the cold for years, and I've had my truck not start and engine go out. So I now prep. I have vehicles that are made for extreme weather. But I remember when I was poor and I didn't have that, and I sat in a vehicle and nearly froze to death, and it was 19 degrees, and I was freezing to death with very little clothing. Yeah, because I was homeless sitting in my car. And, of course, I was a young man back then. I wasn't even 20 years old. But the extreme weather here in Texas and in Austin, it can kill you. It can literally kill you.
Yeah,
so
I feel sorry for anybody that has to sleep outside, bro.
Yeah.
So, like on Thursday, I was driving back home from South Dakota. But that Monday, I was working in -7. And with the wind chill, it was like -20. I got under a truck. I didn't have my gloves on, but I touched the frame and the steel burned my hand. But yeah, dude, like they have machines out there, like the bucket trucks and stuff. They have hydraulic fluid that can take -20. But we turned on the PTO and the line just busted immediately. So we're like, yeah, bro. But
I mean, I've been in extreme weather. When I was up in Alaska, and petrol will freeze at -40. And I remember watching it, and it was like jelly. It was like -30 or something like that. And it was like, who said that?
The heck is that?
Get this guy out of here.
Make me.
Make me. I'm a retard. So what's funny is like the petrol got down to like, it was like jelly. Like it was starting to come down, like that bad. It was terrible.
Yeah, they put additives in the fuel here for that.
Yeah. And that was crazy, dude. But that was a regular vehicle, though. That wasn't like somebody, and I guess the vehicle had been sitting there and they asked for some help to get it, so they had to get it drained. And so I just helped the guy take the gas tank off. We were like, up under it or whatever. And we were in the shop and it was starting, it was warm inside. And so I was with the guy that I was bodyguarding, and he was friends with that guy. Well, one of his friends was friends with that guy. And so he just wanted some help. And it was like an extreme, like it was bad. Like this person had driven, and get this, the vehicle that they drove up there was from Montana. So they get into some extreme weather too. But up there in Alaska, it was like another level. I mean, that was the coldest I've ever been. The hottest I've ever been was in 100 and I think it was 120. Like 120 was the hottest I've ever been. And then that was in North Africa. And then the coldest I've ever been was in that negative like 29 or whatever it was. So I've been in some extreme weather, dude. Like, I mean, you know, but not living in it. I mean, you don't want to live in this shit. I don't understand people that want to live in it.
You go in the Middle East, bro, it gets up to 140. And I remember it was like up to 120, 125 at night. But doing army stuff. And then I remember like the coldest I've ever been was like 70 degrees after being exposed to 130, 140 for a couple months. I remember when I first got there, I saw people wearing sweaters and jackets, and it was like 70 degrees, like around February. I said, what the hell? And then when I was there at the end of the rotation, I understood why. Because dude, like I was wearing a sweater, like layers on, it was like 60 degrees, but because I was acclimated to 120 plus.
Yeah, you get acclimated, but the thing about Texas is it could get up to 110 in the summer, and then it can get down to 10 in the winter.
Your shoes melt, bro. Like in Texas, I remember growing up in El Paso, being ashamed, dude, because I was too poor, I guess, that's when I found out how poor I was, when my shoes melted. I was like, these shoes suck.
The hot summer?
Oh yeah, bro, like walking around when And One. You remember when And One used to be a poor people brand?
Oh.
Used to wear And One, bro. Like my And One shoes melting, bro.
No, the Payless shoes. What's it called? What are those Payless shoes called? The Pro Wings.
The Shacks, bro.
Pro Wings, bro. But Pro Wings, 1 year. Yeah. I mean, I was always broke. 1 year, I bought my own school clothes, so I bought a pair of Pro Wings, and then they last me all year. They were actually, I liked those shoes. They looked cool, you know. And of course, back then, you know, nobody was going to tell me anything. They might have thought it, but they didn't say nothing.
All weather, no weather materials. Yeah.
All right, Lawrence, if you got to go, I'll let you run, man.
All right.
Good to see you, buddy.
I was gonna say one thing. It was on the topic of what you were talking about. I can't, had something to do with the Alaska, I think, but I can't remember. All right,
you go dying on us now,
dude. It's rough.
It is.
I'm going up right now. And for the past 2 nights, I've been plowing snow, but it's good for you, man. I ain't got nothing else better to do. But I'll be watching. Thank you.
Well, it warmed up here. It's 26 degrees here. It got down to like 13, 14 last night, but it's 26 today. So
it's colder down there than it is up here in Colorado right now, dude. Right now it's like 36.
Really? How cold is it? How cold is it over there? 36?
Right now, yeah. Earlier it started off with like I think 12, and then it warmed up to 40.
It was like that earlier in the morning. It was like 15 degrees this morning. Yeah.
I remember. I was gonna say, so like in January it was 60 degrees, and then I've never seen that before in Ohio, and then the next day it was like snowing, and 34. That was weird. I don't know if you're talking about like the ups and downs of temperatures, but I've never once has seen 60 degrees in January. But I was out there in a hoodie, just walking in the trails in the woods and stuff, and then like the next day there's snow all over the ground. It's 34 degrees.
Look up a PDF, everybody who cares, called "Controlling the Weather by 2025."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
HARP weather system.
Yeah, everything is fake. All the weather is fake now. Why? Like I sent Wolf the pictures of, and several of you in chat, the pictures of me lighting the snow on fire yesterday.
Bro, yeah.
Because it's a polymer plastic. It's a surfactant and a polymer plastic, and it's got heavy metals in it. No, there's no real. They can make the temperature rise and fall 40, 50 degrees in a day.
Everything's different. It's like I'm living.
What is that doing to the rest of the atmosphere, bro?
So I have to
Exactly.
say something to everybody who's in the chat and who's on the panel here. Okay, my views are not the same as Dick Richards' views. The weather is not manipulated. It is all real. It is all real, and everything paranormal that we've talked about on here is for entertainment purposes only. It's all fake. There
I
is
believe
no.
And we are
none
not
of these
depressed.
things are real. There is no Dogman. There is no Bigfoot. What else did it say? There
We're
is
not
no
living
ghost.
in the Matrix, and we're reduced to one of these.
The demons.
Yeah,
demons do not. They're not. None of it. It's all just bullshit. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm a
Everybody-
They're
crazy
definitely not
person.
making.
Lying.
They're definitely not making the planet warmer for all the lizard people. Definitely not.
We're not doing.
Wow.
None of this is happening. This is not.
No.
I had to put that disclaimer out there so you know. Okay, entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, I'm a crazy person, by the way.
You guys
Yeah.
know what the awakening is.
Well, everybody that's watching is already like, well, we already knew that Richard was. We already knew he was weird. With Ed Gein over
Someone
there.
says I'm turtle, man.
I
Yeah.
got my Motorhead hat on. You like that?
Motor. so whenever you're out there by yourself, Richard, do you just go out by the lake and dance around and skins and
Yes.
dance with the dead in your dreams? Yeah.
Try to skinwalk it. It hasn't worked yet.
You walk and stuff.
All of the people that he loves the most mysteriously end up missing.
Don't say that.
Oh, no.
Well, you got to actually be able to love people, though. That's the thing. You want to be a skinwalker, so you got to kill somebody you love. Well, what if they're sociopaths and they don't love anybody?
I ain't gonna do that.
They can sacrifice the thing they love the most.
Yeah,
to pay
that's
a
psycho.
tribute for the same effect.
If you're
But don't do that at your
socio,
house.
it sounds like like there's no soul there. It's just demonic spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just you playing around with your vessel. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just elemental magic myself.
Well, different types of magic. Yeah, absolutely. That's what that is. And it's evil as all hell. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
It could be a generational curse of some sort passed on through whatever.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. It's crazy that you all believe in all this shit because I don't personally. I am not involved in any of this. There is no Illuminati. There is no secret shadow government. There are no aliens, no UFOs, no Bigfoot. None of this. It's all entertainment. All of it. Right, Anthony?
Elon Musk didn't say that he was an alien at the WEF the other day.
We don't support your Second Amendment rights either.
And we do not own any unregistered firearms.
And we
Hey, do you
not
think
own
that
any-
stuff
we don't
that, you know
own
how like when they
firearms
start
at all.
glitching, bro? You know when they start glitching and they drink that thing that looks like water? Do you think it's like liquid crystal or something?
Yes.
Whatever y'all say, man. I'm not on board with any of that stuff. So
More nanoparticles.
All right, well, I'm about to tell you guys a story then.
Okay, go ahead.
So back in 2024, I was being guided to read the Keys of Solomon. And I was like,
Hold on,
wait, just let me talk. It's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind.
You were led to you were led to
Yeah, I was guided. I haven't read them yet. They're still here in my truck. All right. So I was being guided to read the Keys of Solomon, right? And I was like, my friend has them in his house, but he also has a 1-year-old little girl. I was like, if you want me to read the keys, I was like, I can buy them, no problem. But if you want, if you want us both to win, not really like that. I was like, my friend Andrew has those books in his house with a 1-year-old daughter. So if you want, I can buy them, no problem. Or you can just take them away from him and give them to me, you know. And I had been bothering him about those books for a couple months. Like, hey, bro, let me borrow them. Like, he's all like, nah. So like he's actually a Satanist. I've known him since he was little, and like I bug him every day, send him Christ reels and stuff, and he's like, don't do that, but I keep doing it. But like, anyway, this dude shows up at my door like 2 weeks later, and he has a bag with him, and he's all like, and some jackets, and he's all like, hey bro, here, these don't fit me anymore, because he kind of gained weight. He's like, you can have these. And he's all like, oh, and also bro, by the way, I got those books. And I was like, which books? Like, I already knew. And he's all like, you know, the keys, bro, the ones you've been asking me about. He's all like, something told me that these would be better off in your hands. So I got the books, you know, and I was like, get out of here. So I haven't read them yet. But later on, you know, I'm like still researching all this stuff, going down rabbit holes, listening to podcasts and everything. And just something told me that something about the whole thing wasn't right, you know, because you can even be like something that might appear to be an angel of light can be like. So I've been holding off on those books, reading them until I get the right sign. So yeah, I had the books in my truck, and finally I was like, you know what? I don't read these things. I want to get rid of them. So I was out of town. I was in Iowa, and I went to a food truck, bro, and there was a church there. And that food truck, like when I'm out of town, I just hit up the same food truck for as long as I'm there. And I was like, one of these days, well, I was like, once that church, well, like, I was like, all right. I was like, I got to get rid of these books. If I go to a Christian church, the pastor probably knows how, because I don't know you're supposed to get rid of this stuff a certain way. And I'm like, all right, so I'm just going to go in this church, and I'll ask the pastor, like, if he knows how to get rid of this stuff. So I went in there, and like they're getting ready to open service. There's only a few people there. And I talked to the pastor, and I was like, hey, like, I got these books with me. And I kind of gave him like a quick rundown, like how I came across them. And he's all like, I was like, you guys don't know what the keys of Solomon are? And he's like, no, we don't. He's like, we teach from the Bible here. And I was like, you don't know who King Solomon is? And he's all like, no.
What?
So like, the pastor didn't know who King Solomon was, bro. So I was like, all right. So I was like, so I take it you don't know how to get rid of this type of material? And he's all like, no. So like, I told him another story. Like him and his the other assistant pastor, I guess, are just sitting there wide-eyed. And I'm like, well, if you guys can't help me get rid of these books, can we pray together? And you know, we prayed and stuff, and they prayed for discernment and guidance for me. And later I'm at my house, and I talked about this over at Abe's channel. I'm in my house, and yeah, so on the way there, I was listening to the Mexican channels, and there's this guy, they call him the Black Unicorn. He's the most powerful warlock in Mexico. And for a couple months, I would just get a random message from him, like, hey, bro, I'm here if you need me. Hey, bro, like, if there's anything that you need, like, just don't be afraid to ask. And so then it clicked. I was like, what if I ask him, like, how to get rid of this stuff, you know? So I started messaging him. After I made sure that he wasn't a scammer. Nobody even dares like try to say that they're him or try to claim his title as like the Brujo Mayor de Catemaco. And so yeah, I was like, hey man, like I just started telling him about like some of the stuff that I've been going through. And I was like, I feel like the Lord has called me to battle. And he thought it was the other Lord. He thought it was the other Lord. He got all happy. He was rejoicing and stuff. And he's like, you know what? He's like, let me call you through my personal line. And like, I got a little nervous because this dude's famous, even though he's evil. Like the guy, like, you know, like this is who like all the politicians and presidents and stuff go to, you know? So
Yikes.
At the time I was cleaning my house. What's up?
Like a
No, I just said yikes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh,
No,
like,
I just said yikes, like I was by what you were saying about him. Sorry, I'd interrupt. Never mind.
No, but I thought somebody else was going to say something too.
it sounds like he's like that Maria Abramovich, that witch that does all the like
Oh,
singers.
Abramovich.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one that looks like Lady Gaga.
yeah,
Yeah, the one that's
the,
a
the one
dude.
that like trains Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Give me a
Weird.
second, brother.
Gaga is really weird.
Hola,
Yeah,
mi
Maria
amorito de pollo
Abramovich is
asado, por
a
favor.
castrated man, by the way.
Eso es todo, señor.
All the
Figures.
mother goddesses are dudes. All the mother goddesses are dudes. That's the whole inversionism. That's the whole Baphometic satanic thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to go back
Yeah.
to the story, so I want to hear the story. So
Yo, I don't fit through here.
Crazy. What they called him, the black unicorn?
Yeah, the black unicorn.
okay,
Holy shit. But yeah, dude. So,
What happened?
I hit a curb.
Yeah, see, that's,
Oh, boy.
that's the black magic and Satanists, dude.
So yeah, I'm talking to this guy, you know, and like, I'm at the time I was cleaning my house, and I like something just told me test the spirits, you know. So I don't know, dude. Like, I texted him, hey, is it true that people like you can leave their bodies? And like the guy, I see that he read the message, like the little check mark comes on. And yeah, bro. After that, like I was standing in my living room in the dining area facing the living room. And then suddenly I felt like I was standing on like in an elevator. And then I felt like the ground move. And then I heard, like, and then right in between my feet, somebody knocked like from underneath the house.
Yikes.
Like in between my feet, like bam, 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 like 7 times, bro. And like, I was like, no way. And next thing you know, like I'm just having like a full-blown like telepathic conversation with this guy. And we're talking about many things, like paranormal wise. And then, so finally, I'm like, hey, bro, about my question earlier, I was like, how do I get rid of these things, like these books? And he's all like, make a petition. And I was like, no. And he's all like, for real? He's all like, you made me waste this energy, come over here and talk to you and entertain you, and you're not going to make a petition? And I was like, no. And suddenly, bro, I just feel like I'm not alone in my house, like a bunch of spirits just like all around me. And he's all like, he's like, you cannot destroy that which is eternal. And then I started feeling all those spirits coming on around me, bro. And so yeah, I switched it to YouTube. I was like, I got to put on Psalms, and I started listening to Psalms and like, you know, scripture on the speakers on my house. I turned it all the way up. And then I got down on my knees and my elbows and I'm praying. And then suddenly I was able to see myself from behind, and I'm on the floor and we have high ceilings. I saw like this, you know, like this throwing a light, like this being just boom, like appeared in the corner, and he was holding a staff and a rod. And when he picked his rod up, boom, it was like a wave of light that pushed everything out of the house.
Wow.
And so yeah, I remember like I messaged him after. I was like, was that you? Like, who did you send? And like he wasn't responding. And I was like, look, bro, it doesn't matter like who you are, what you've done, or what you're gonna do. Like, God is with you, man. And I promise, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna pray for you and your family, even though nobody probably prays for you. I'm gonna pray for you. All right. So yeah, bro, I was in Iowa, and I was doing like you know, dielectric testing. I have this machine. There's like a big, I call it the barber pole. It has like a little sphere on the top. And I was getting ready. I was putting everything away, and I locked. I'll show you guys. Watch. So this bin right here, you see this bin? So it's locked.
Hey, is that a spaceship above me?
wow,
It's double locked.
yeah.
So I remember I put the radiating element in the top corner, and then I double locked it because I needed to go use the restroom.
This is
So
a twist one. You have to twist
I locked it up. I went and used the restroom, bro. And then when I got back, I had to move my truck to another, like reposition it to do a load test. And I remember I unlocked the bin again to get the straps out because I keep them in that same side. And I noticed that the barber pole, the radiating element, is gone. And I remember it was there because it had like a little dink on it, and I was like, "Is that breached?" And I looked at it, I was like, "Nah, it's just a dent, but it's not breached." And when I opened it, it wasn't there anymore. And I had just prayed for him. I had just prayed for him like 30 minutes before that. And then I was like, "Man, I'm going crazy looking for this thing, bro." I opened up that same bin. I pulled everything out. I searched the entire truck in here, everywhere, bro. Like, I was like, should I go check the bathroom? I was like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, I know I locked it under 2 keys. So like, this is kind of strange. So, yeah, bro, I was like, you know what? Let me just finish doing the load test. And then once I'm completely done, then I'll look for it. And then I remember I was like, there's no way in hell, bro. And I was like, you know what? Talking about cryptids, there's these things that called aluches. And like, it's like the little gremlins that hide your stuff, or like, you know, when you lose things, like more than likely it's like one of those things. So I thought about it and I was like, God, like tell them to stop playing with me. Like I need to get out of here. Like make them give me my stuff back. Like that. I was mad, bro. And like, I meant it. And then I just felt like something say like it wasn't me thinking like, hey, turn around. And I turn around and I look, and off in the distance, I see the like the barber pole on the ground. And it was in a place where I didn't go over there. Like I didn't even drive through there. Like I didn't pass through there at all, bro. The thing was just like mysteriously on the ground. I was like, no way. And I thought about it. I was like, maybe it was this guy like trying to tell me like, don't do that. Like, you know, like don't pray for me or whatever. But I don't know, God's great. And as long as you're under the grace of God, bro, like you're protected, but it doesn't mean that things can't happen still. But you know.
Yeah, I had a bunch of stuff vanish out of the last place I was in, Chato, and I mean, one was this it was a really expensive knife that I had, and I literally cut an avocado open and put the knife down on the counter beside the sheath, turned around, peeled the avocado, and turned around again, and the knife was gone. So I get what you mean.
Yep.
The sheath was still there, but the real expensive knife was gone, and I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? And this happened with a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, those are like, sometimes it could be like monitoring spirits, or I don't know what it could be.
Well, here's what's funny. So Takayasha Hime says, not to be rude, but how new are you? This is like a speed run of how to do everything wrong and get attachments. That's aimed at you, Chato. What do you have to say about that?
I don't know, bro. I'm just not scared of shit. And I thought it was a good idea at the time.
You're a true G, Nighthawk.
Dude, like, it takes a lot to get me scared. So, dude, this one night, it was like 2 weeks after my dog died. I was out of town, and I was doing like a little video chat with my brother and my cousin. And I sent them Psalm 71 to dispel witchcraft and all that. And then I was like, all right, good night, guys. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to read this myself, so you guys should probably read it too. And yeah, bro, then, you know, I was trying to read all the lights were off and everything. I love sleeping. I can't sleep unless it's total darkness. And yeah, I had the phone up to my face like this, and I was trying to read it. And at the same time, I could see like this aura, like a purple, like a aura thing, like in my face. And it was really hard for me to read anything. So I started reading it out loud, but like very slowly, until eventually I got through the whole thing. And then I prayed, I went to sleep. And then something like around 4 a.m, like I woke up because I could hear like whispering. And I look at the foot of my bed, and there's 2 guys like in cloaks. There's 2 guys at the end of my bed, and then like off to the side, like diagonally, there's a 3rd one, and they got hoods, they got cloaks on, and they're praying. I don't know what they're, you know, casting probably like sorcery or spells or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know who you guys are, or I don't know what you're doing here, but like whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's not going to work. I was like, may God bless you guys and have a nice night. And I hate it when somebody wakes me up, bro. I just rolled right over and fucking fell asleep. Like,
Chato, pray Numbers 23:23 against witchcraft as well. It's surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath God wrought. That's one of the real powerful anti-witchcraft prayers in the Bible too.
okay, I'll read it, bro.
Hey,
All right, give me a second, guys.
I'm gonna go inside. I just got sucked in, and I realized that I might have frostbite.
Oh no.
Yeah, my fingers are getting warm, and it's freezing out here, so that's not a good sign. See you guys later.
All right. Well, that's not good. Let's see
No,
if
that's not good at all.
a real person or if they're going to start screaming and cussing.
Was that person like doing something weird on the?
Yeah, I don't want to even get into what they were doing. That's what they want you
That's
to.
what I wondered if they were doing.
Dreamwalker, you're on the air. What's going on?
Not much, bro. It's me, Joel. Just chilling.
What's going on, man?
I was just excited to see Drake again. I kind of want to like discuss string theory and dreams because I think they're somewhat connected.
Hmm.
Well, that sounds good. We can do that. At least you're not showing up, doing something horrible.
Oh yeah.
So what do you want to talk about, Joel?
I don't know. I was just exploring the whole idea of string theory and entanglement, and it's just, the whole idea that we're all simultaneously living in some dimension and connected, and you've heard my testimony before and outer body experience, and after that, which is interesting that Chado talked about seeing auras and stuff, and I mentioned that in my testimony where I started seeing that after my outer body experience. But even after that, just I'll have these not constant. It's not like every day or every night, but I would have these vivid dreams, or should I say, out of body experiences, because so lifelike, where you could touch, feel, taste, smell everything. Like if you're, walking around in reality, but you're somewhere else, and it just makes me wonder sometimes. Because here's an interesting thing that happened once when this started happening to me. Um, so I live in the Florida area, and I recall I had this out of body experience where I followed these divers down. It's weird. It's like I'm observing, but I'm also, as I observe them, I'm also experiencing what they're experiencing. And it's like these divers found this underwater cavern in somewhere near Florida or the Gulf or somewhere, and it was like three scientists. For some reason, I knew they were scientists, and it led into a cavern under that goes, I guess, into Florida or Texas. I couldn't really tell, but when they got in there, they encountered some type of reptilian culture that surrounded them and gave them a choice where one had to be left behind to pretty much be eaten, and the other two could be left to go home. And as I'm trying to make sense of this, that's where I cut out of it, and I pop in my bed and I pop up kind of sweating like if it was a bad dream. But the whole problem is just like it was so real, like I really experienced this situation. So it's something that's kind of like, I don't know, messed me up in my head, where you experience these things and it's like how much of it is really a dream and how much of it is an actual out of body experience.
Hmm. How much is it a dream? How much is it an out of body experience? Because there are cases where you might not have control. In some cases, I think you have control, but I probably have more of the feeling that I had some sort of experience with that a lot more when I was in my 20s. But dream state's always weird for me. Every now and then you remember one or two dreams, and the rest is really hard to recall. Lucid dreaming, so. But who knows? Your brain could be entangled with everyone else. Another part of the world. Who knows?
Yeah, and I always thought that was weird because, I mean, there's times where I mean, there's times where you can encounter someone and you have like you can see something in your mind about them, and then you mention something, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's weird. That's actually happening." And you're like, "Oh, that's interesting," because this just popped in my head. How is it really happening? As if it just popped in my head. So there, and it's kind of like the whole, uh, like right now we're all talking on the phone, right? We're all talking from far distances at this point, but how much of it happens naturally with our minds where we can connect with someone, but we can easily dismiss that connection just because to us it just doesn't make sense. That's not our reality, and for whatever reason we want to dismiss it or make excuses. But then how do you explain when you get something right, when we want to say coincidence, but in most cases, for most of us who are part of this community, we kind of learned where coincidence isn't always kosher. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Some things are too coincidental sometimes, but I understand. Yeah, trying to find someone, meet up with someone, stuff like that. Just somehow the universe just has a way of connecting those things together.
Yeah, the only coincidence I believe in is you and I wearing the same colored shirt on the same day.
Shirt buddies. That
Or
has
think
happened to
about it.
me.
It's like the cryptids. How many all these stories about the cryptids, where the dogman, pale crawlers. How many of them we always hear about Bigfoot, pale crawlers, or dogman? We hear these same stories. They have like this camouflage about them that they could pop in and out of our reality, and then it's like, well, what permits them to be able to do that? Like, what allows them to hop in and out of our reality? Are they really hopping in and out? Is there just something they're able to traverse that we don't see? Is there like a dimensional pocket hole that we're not able to see that they can see and they can traverse through? It's just things that kind of go through my mind, and I often wonder is like, why is it these cryptids have even with the those who practice witchcraft and brujeria and do the skinwalking, they're able to do the same thing. Like, what is it they're able to see that we can't see? Or is it something that after the fall of mankind, when we disobeyed in the garden, something was sealed up in our brain where we can no longer see that dimension?
Mm.
It's a good question.
Good question.
Trying to deal with this.
I
troll
think
problem
maybe,
here.
bro, these things can phase in between realities, and like, like when Frodo puts on the ring, like he's somewhere else. But like maybe something like that, bro. I don't know. That's how I picture it. Like them fading in and out of a different reality that just parallels ours, and they're
So
able to move unseen.
what did you guys want to talk about string theory?
Well, just like in the whole point where, okay, we talked about particles in the past, how they connect into different realities. We're talking about, something existing in a dimension simultaneously. You know, some of this is I think is all interconnected when we're talking about cryptids being able to phase in and phase out, right? Or you're think you're dreaming, but you're not dreaming, and you're probably in another dimension, or you're probably out of your body
Plane
experiencing
of
some other
existence.
dimension. And to you, it's a dream, but then you're interacting with some other dimension.
Well, I mean, it's string theory in and of itself.
Huh?
Does anybody else have a terrible
It's more
connection
like,
tonight?
it basically doesn't. Oh, we guys kind
I've
of
got a
faded
pretty
out.
good connection. It seemed to be
But what string theory? In case somebody doesn't know what string theory is, it's basically like it's basically like a theoretical mashup of physics. That proposes a fundamental theory of the universe.
essentially a
I
screenshot.
guess
of
how do you say? How would I say it? How would I put it? They aren't particles so much as that they're tiny, like strings, like one-dimensional strings, like the building blocks of the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever densities, dimensions, whatever, are strings. They're not particles, which is weird. I mean, there's different strings that vibrate and they determine how everything goes, right? That's pretty much what that is. So string theory, and a lot of people think that it's just like the string theory is like, oh, everything's connected by these little strings. Kind of, yeah, but those strings take you to different places.
Yes, extra dimensions.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's if you think about it, it would take an enormous amount of energy to cross that barrier. Let's say we're in our dimension, right? We're in third or fourth dimension. Something in a higher dimension to cross into our dimension, it would destroy them. The amount of energy it would take for them to
Yeah.
cross over. Now, the question is, why is it with the cryptids, they can cross in and out without getting burned up or damaged, but any other concept we think of as far as us crossing over, it would destroy our bodies. If we think about the physics behind that with string theory, that whole crossing, that means there's some holes in our dimension that they're able to cross without getting that damage, without burning up to cross over.
Yeah.
Wormholes.
One of the problems I have with string theory is that I'm not a big believer in the theory of relativity. And
No.
one of the things that string theory does is it tries to unify relativity and quantum mechanics. I think that Einstein was wrong. I mean, that's my opinion.
It's supposed to unify all fundamental forces of nature, including gravity, into a single constant framework. It proposes that the basic
God equation.
Yeah.
They want to know, like, what they're trying to do is see if they can figure out like the mind of God.
Well, that's like, isn't the God particle supposed to be something like 80 to 100 giga-electron volts? You know, the Large Hadron Collider's trying to figure that out and probably causing black holes along the way.
Well, think about it. How is it when we talk about inner Earth, right? Sheol, Hades, whatever you want to call it. Why is it when people traverse into the Earth, we're in a different dimension? We're in a different pocket universe.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you make sense of that? Like, how do you make sense of crossing that? Because apparently you can only cross that if either you passed away or have some type of spiritual prowess to cross into that side of the universe.
Or when you dream, you probably don't know that you visit these places inadvertently.
Yeah, when you come out of your body, you're just energy. You're just a form of energy that's, and you got to remember too, everything that we are, from the cellular level of our physical body to the molecular level, of our, spiritual body, because it is molecules that come together and agree. It's like an agreed upon appointment,
Yeah.
And everybody just, is working together to make one, to be a unity, So, it's like if you were to study something like in nature, like a Portuguese man of war.
Mm-hmm.
Man of war is literally an interesting creature because what it is thousands and thousands of different animals all working together as one floating city. And that's what it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, like a bunch of jellyfish have decided to become one creature. But that's, everybody says, well, that's because those are lower, cellular, whatever. But
you just described all the liberals, dude.
Yeah, but our bodies are the same things. Our bodies are the same things with
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's more advanced. And the thing is, people don't understand. Like, another thing too. Instead of electrons, and quarks, etc., whatever, it's basically like, I guess, being zero dimensional or whatever. That's the whole thing. It's weird. It's like there's not really it's like there's something below the first dimension, is what you're trying to theorize. That there's something that we don't see, something that we don't know, That's been something that's always kind of aided me too, because I don't know what subatomic particles really are. I mean, you can theorize and postulate on the theory all day long, but once you get down below the atom, I mean, it gets pretty weird. And you're supposed to believe that it's just electrons, and it's just, I don't know if I buy into all that, or if it's just something that we all agreed upon, and just like these energies, have all just agreed upon to be, just to be something. And it's something that's hard to, when you're a child. I know everybody's probably done this. Maybe I'm the weird one. I don't know. But you stare into the mirror and you go, what am I? Who am I? You look at your hand and you wonder how you got in this body. You're a consciousness in this body.
Or maybe you wonder the reflection that you're looking at is the real you and you're the reflection.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some weird things that went through my mind as a kid. I was like, how did I get here? And was I somewhere else before? One of the things in the Gnostic text in the Gospel of Philip, I believe, where it's Jesus is saying, I believe it's the Gospel of Philip, don't quote me, but I think that's correct. And he talks to James about how the three things you're supposed to do to pass through the ether. And one is to be able to know these names of these infernal beings, to circumvent them and bypass them. Another one is to be fearless. And another one is to, I forgot that there's another one that he told him that he had to do. And it's kind of like just to know, like you have to know in your heart that there was the pre-existent Father and that God was around before existence, which is weird. I mean, that's a weird thing. You can look it up. I may be quoting it wrong from the wrong Gnostics. There's so many of them, but I think that's correct.
Well, even if you look at Greek mythology, they have that whole stance of where there's this all creator God, right? That comes and create chaos and the primordial entity. And then all of a sudden disappears in the background. You never hear about this creator God anymore, this all powerful being. And then this primordial chaos being all of a sudden gives birth to all these other primordial gods. And a lot of mythologies follow that.
Well, the earth is also, and Richard has talked about this before, a rotting corpse. This was a slain, it was the body of a slain god. And basically, and I know Richard has quoted that one of the different Gnostics,
Gospel of Thomas.
Thomas, yeah. And in the Gospel of Thomas, is a very interesting book. But you got to really know what you're doing when you read it. Otherwise, you won't understand it. So I would recommend reading it at least twice. But it talks about how Jesus pushed somebody off of a roof and said, "What's the big deal? He's alive again." Because there really is no death in the way that we think there is. He pushed a child that he was playing with, like a playmate, right? And it's really weird, And then Richard, you talked about how Christ says that that you don't have to be here if you recognize or realize the nature of this reality.
Yeah.
In other words, once you realize that everything is a corpse, and then all of the beings that came afterwards were in essence sort of like they were little bugs that lived on the corpse and fed on the corpse, and they were these really big, tall giants that lived. My thing is this. I know some things, okay? And I'm not, everybody knows that. But what I'm saying is there was a guy, they call him Izzy, and that's his nickname, but he's from Sweden. And he's one of about 5. I looked it up today. I thought there were 3. There was 5, at least 5. There are other 2 I haven't fleshed out yet. 5 different people. Him and this one woman from California, those 2 in particular, I really wanted to focus on. She now lives in Oregon. Didn't really escape the madness. I think she just got worse. Where she went to, she's like, I wanted a more peaceful place. Well, Oregon's probably not the place right now. But those 2 people had very interesting out-of-body experiences. And I'm not going to get into it here, but we're going to talk about it on one of the probably the members only. So get your name in green because you're going to want to hear this. Once we're done with the whole Boltungan, the were hyena thing from Africa. So this these people, they floated up out of their body and they saw something about the world. Now, I'm not saying I believe this because I don't know, but when 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7 people start telling you, now some of these people were in a group I was in, and I kind of, messaged them, and one of them finally responded. But this guy from Sweden, he'd reached out to me, and he had met one of the people from the channel on Discord or something, and the guy told him, hey, go to this, whatever. So this dude actually started talking about being on another plane of existence when he came out of his body, but that he could see the earth, and he realized that the earth was round, but it wasn't a globe. And that there were different sections of the earth that didn't look like ours. I'm gonna talk about this in depth on another episode. Like you could see the area that we lived in, but it was just like this one little area, and we were kind of walled off, and there was other stuff. Yeah. And then there were other ponds, sort of, so to speak, water ponds, as he said. It was really weird. And then, and if there was just one person that said that to me, I'd be like, well, that's a weird dream you had. I don't know. But then there was another woman who was from like Rosedale or something in California. I think that's the name of the city. But she messaged me and said that she had an out-of-body experience. This is a person who, she was born in Mexico, came here when she was 14. She's 45 now. So, 31 years ago, whatever. Has a whole nother perspective on this and saw something very similar from an out-of-body. So then you're starting to go like, well, that's weird. And there was another guy, I think he was from Canada too. It was weird. So you got like all these different people saying the same thing, not completely the same thing, but it's very similar of what they saw when they were out of their body and how far up they went into the atmosphere and started to witness the world that we lived in, and the geography was not correct. It was not the way that they had been taught. And the world was like flat, and like, here's the United States, and then here's Russia over here, and everything was like in a big circle. And it was kind of doing this, kind of, I don't know what you call that, but it was just a weird thing, I mean, so the world is not the way we think it is or the way we want it to be. And I've been fascinated by string theory, but I don't totally subscribe to it completely because it tries to unify things that may not be unifiable. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we just all agree that everything can be really jacked up. You know what I mean?
I just think it's one of those things where it kind of explains where we're in a multi-dimensional universe. Like everyone wants to talk about, oh, it's a spherical Earth. Oh, it's a flat Earth. Oh, it's this or that and the other. And it's like, well, what if it's a multi-dimensional universe where, yeah, if you're in the second dimension, to you it's a flat Earth, but it's not necessarily a flat Earth to someone who lives in the third or fourth dimension because they see other dimensions you don't see. So maybe these people that you're talking about, they saw something in a higher plane or a higher dimension, which wouldn't make sense to us. And how can they translate something that their minds can only conceive in a third or fourth dimension? Think about it. It's like people in the Bible, they try to explain stuff, right? These prophets will explain, oh, I saw this and that. And then they got to explain from their worldview how they saw something, where to us it would make sense later in the years where we see the technology, the sciences, right? But to them, they got to explain it how in their time it would make sense.
Yeah, because like, hey, BMY, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening?
One of the people that talked about this with a Canadian dude was from Montreal. But he was talking about like seeing it kind of like a gyroscope,
Interesting.
I think that it's weird because but the thing inside of the gyroscope was like flat on top with like bumps and ridges, which are like mountain ranges probably. And then there was like this thing hanging down below it, there was more down below the water.
Yeah, the inner earth. That's how the Bible describes. That's what I believe the biblical earth is.
Yeah,
like caverns and regions down below, like an upside down mountain range, kind of.
Hey,
I
Koopy.
think those could be the foundations that they described, like the foundations of the earth.
Hey, buddy.
Could be. But I think that's the inner earth too. It's where these things, these civilizations inside the earth live.
Say hi to everybody.
He's a cute dog.
Yeah, this is Cooper. This is one of my border collies. He is so smart, dude. This dog can fetch. He'll bring it and throw the stick right at your feet. We didn't even have to teach him, dude. These border collies are smart. They're cow dogs. They're
Yeah.
for the ranch, but Nelly babied them and turned them into babies, little babies. He's a pretty boy. Yeah, and Ezzy, his sister, she's really pretty too. I think she's more pretty. But Cooper's smart. You're smarter, aren't you? You're the smart one. But our little half poodle, half whatever she is, she's super smart. She's a real intelligent one. Yeah. Thank you. Good boy. Good boy. You want a treat? You want a treat? You get him a treat? He's a good boy. Earlier, I had Martis on here. That was my cat. He just decided to say hello and jump around. He comes up and he knocks the mouse out of the way. He's like, and he just. But Panzer, he's just like a big old loaf of bread. Come here, Ezzy. You want to come up? You want to say hi too? Come here, sweetheart. She wants to play with Cooper. She's over there playing. Come on. Come on, Ezzy. You want to say hi? Come on up. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Look at that. You want to say hi? Look, Ezzy. So, BMR, what do you got for us tonight? What do you got going on?
Well, hey, what's happening? Well, one thing I wanted to check out my new boom mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Oh, good. Because I had a position because I got it for my birthday, which is tomorrow. A lot of cool.
Yeah, happy
people
birthday.
born in January. Mine
Yeah,
is in mine's in 1 hour. Mine's in 1 hour.
Yeah, I
Wow.
caught your show the other day.
Yeah.
At DMR.
Oh, thanks, man. I was very interested. Well, I'm always interested in your shows, but then I seen Dreamwalker. You guys are talking dreams. And I said, man, I have to share this. I don't know. I've shared this last year. Josh, I do not know if you heard it, but I want your guys' take on this. We're talking about all this. I think it all ties together. And I just wanted to kind of get everybody's response and your thoughts, because I'll preface this by saying throughout my whole life, I've had all these weird, vivid dreams, almost like they're lifelike. Okay. And sometimes I have part one, I have part two. I can wake up in the middle of the night and the dream will start over. But this one dream that I had haunts me till this day, and it haunts my brother and my sister-in-law. I will just say this, that a lot of the dreams that I have, I'm always starting off in a familiar place that I've always frequent. And I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. Then all of a sudden I get lost and I can't get out. And I get this feeling of dread just pours through my body. But it's always somebody, a lost relative, namely my father, who helps me get out of the dream and find my way back home. But I have to tell you, last year, and I have to say this, I used to go for 10 straight years, for a decade. Me, my brother, my sister-in-law went to the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. We knew all and we played Texas Hold'em. We knew all the dealers. We knew all of the bartenders, all the women, the men. They knew us. They knew me by Rob. That's how I knew all these people. So getting on with this, I had this dream last year. Now, keep in mind, during this dream, my brother and my sister-in-law were in Las Vegas, and I was mad. Well, not mad. I was disappointed I couldn't go with them. So I go to bed. I'm falling asleep, and I have this dream, a very vivid dream, and I'm in Las Vegas. I'm at the Flamingo Hotel, and I'm playing Texas Hold'em. I'm playing cards. And this very creepy looking guy, I mean, he looks like he looked like he was homeless. He comes up to the poker table and we're sitting around playing cards. I get dealt 2 aces in Texas Hold'em. I'm not getting into how you play it. Everyone gets 2 cards down, 2 face cards. You look at them. I get dealt pocket aces. So I make a big bet. Now, this is the dream, okay? But this is where this story gets really strange. This is the dream. I get 2 pocket aces. And then the 3 face cards shown is like 2 6s and like a jack or something. I bet heavy. Everyone drops out except for 2 guys, including the creepy guy. He stays in. I make another bet. The other guy drops out. The creepy man raises me. And I know I already have a full boat because the next card on the river was another 6. So there's 3 6s and a jack. I have 2 aces. So I got a full boat. I'm like, yeah, I can't lose this hand, I'm thinking. So again, during the dream, I shove my chips all into the middle. The creepy looking guy does it. The next card on the river is a 6. Okay. So I'm like, wow. So I lost. The guy had 4 6s to beat my full boat. So I lost all my money in this dream. So I get up and I start walking away. Now the creepy man follows me. And I'm walking down a hallway in the Flamingo, leaving the casino area, the card playing area. And I feel this hand on my shoulder. And as I'm dreaming, I can feel these things. And I turn around and he goes, you can't lose when you're playing against the devil.
Yikes.
In my dream. And then all of a sudden his hand grabs mine. He starts shaking my hand very tightly. Then he morphed into my passed away father. And my father always gets me out of these dreams, you guys. He says, Robbie, don't worry, I'll take you home. And it's my dad in this dream. Then all of a sudden, my dad's grip, and he was an older man when he passed away, his feeble grip tightened around my hand and starts pulling me. And as he's pulling me, I see nothing but a pit of fire. And then the creepy man evolves back and replaces my father and says, I'm taking you to the lake of hell. He pulls me. I wake up and I'm in a sweat. You guys, I am sweating profusely like I was in a fire, sweating. I am scared, shaking like I've never been scared in my life. I'm fully awake out of this dream. Here's where the dream gets very bizarre because, as I told you, my brother and my sister-in-law were in Vegas during this dream. I had to talk about this that night. It was 3:00 in the morning, and I did a live show just to tell everybody about my dream. It just so happens Brandy was up and she got on with me, and we're going through this dream. Now, as I go live on air, my brother is subscribed to my channel. The alert bell goes off, and he thought it was odd that I was on at that time of night because that's not my scheduled show time. And he's listening to and I was retelling the dream. He calls me back. He says, Rob, man, are you in Las Vegas? I go, no, I'm at home. He goes, man, we're watching your show. Me and Karen, my sister-in-law, says, we're going to the Flamingo because Karen is very freaked out about this. Here's the freakiest thing about this dream and about this experience. My brother and Karen go to the Flamingo. They go to the section where we all play cards. They walk in, and they're walking about the bar and the casino. The dealer of the casino and a bartender goes up to my brother and Karen and says, hey, we just saw your brother lose a big hand of poker to some guy.
What?
And they told me that on the phone. They called me, Rob, are you sure you're not pulling our leg? Somebody ID'd you in the casino and you lost a lot of money. I said, you guys, I was in bed. I had a dream. I did a live show. I know you're in Vegas. You guys just so happened to catch the alert bell and watch my show. Then they called me and they thought I was, making something up, right? I said, you guys, I'm at home in Michigan. They go, oh my God, the guy at the dealer at the casino and another bartender ID'd you and says, we just saw your brother. And this is factual because, as I said earlier, I've been going here for a decade. They all know me. They know my brother. They know Karen. They know us. Somehow, you guys, I was there. that to this day is the most disturbing thing that's ever happened to me. And that's including my Bigfoot encounter that I had. So to this day, I cannot finger it. I talked to a friend of mine. He says I probably astral projected because several months earlier I explained that I was reading these books on how to astral project. I've been trying to do that. I haven't tried it since. Someone says I left my plane, I left my body, I left the current plane, and I actually went into a different realm, and I was there, but not physically, but in some other form. To the life of me, don't know what happened. I did a show. My brother, people saw me. I was not there. I was home in Michigan. That, you guys, I have no explanation for.
That is weird.
Can I interject a bit? I mean,
Oh yeah.
because the thing that stood out to me, right? I think there's some type of demonic impersonation going on something for impersonating you, because when you're having the out of body experience or dream, you mentioned 666 several times. Then you mentioned River Styx. I'm thinking, Karen, Underworld, someone that carries through the River Styx, someone who deals with the underworld, a demonic entity for all intents and purposes. And it's doing something that you're familiar with, but it does something where you're identified in another location when you're not physically there. So
I was definitely identified in another location because I was not there. I was at home.
Yeah, that's a crazy story, man.
One of the things, you're talking about going into alternate realities and different places.
Yeah.
And of course, we were talking about string theory, and string theory. It basically requires more than just having like 3 spatial dimensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we experience, and usually it's like 10, 11 dimensions. I've even heard it said that there's more, but the extra ones are these, like the ones that are too small that we can't see them, can't comprehend them, and they're curled up, which is weird to think about. But we've talked on the show many times about pocket realities and pocket dimensions, and where you may end up going in these you may go to these pocket realities when you interact with these so-called cryptids, aliens, ghosts, whatever it is that is, angels, demons, whatever. You end up in these pocket realities, and that could be string theory. Could be it, because it's weird because they don't really give you a room for a like there's no 0 dimension, in other words, in that. And so yeah, it's just a very weird thing. And I know that Michikaku, I don't know if anybody knows or if everybody on the panel may know who that is. He's talked about it quite a bit. And I know he was on Joe Rogan's show one time, and when he was on there, I was literally, before he was saying what he was going to say, I was already like saying it, thinking it, because a lot of the theories like they make sense. But there was a Russian scientist. He's literally a nuclear physicist, and he worked out at my gym. A big guy. I used to work out with him, and we started talking, and we argued like we weren't fighting. We were disagreeing about this, And it's funny because we're 2 really big guys weightlifting, and he kept coming back over to me and trying to proselytize to me about why string theory was not correct. And why he only believed that there were 8 dimensions. And he kept on giving me this, he's like, because my dad, he was scientist, my grandfather was scientist, I am scientist, and blah, 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 and he said he didn't want to be, but when he was born, he was like me. He was born in the 70s. And of course, he was born under, Soviet Union. And you're not given a lot of choice there. It's kind of like, if your dad is smart, you're smart, you better be, because that's going to be what you're going to be. And so he really didn't want to do that. And eventually he came to the United States after Perestroika and Gorbachev and all the things, the wall and everything fell and, things, whatever. And now he's over here living the dream, paying taxes and suffering like everybody else. But when he was young, he was suffering for real, like bad. And he said, he goes, as a scientist over here, you can make millions of dollars if you know what you're doing. Over there, you were just paid like everybody else. It's just your job. You just had to do more work. But he said that, that he wasn't wrong. And he kept on telling me that it was, there were people that had discovered these dimensions. And then we talked about Kozarev's mirror. Now, I don't know if anybody knows what that is. But that could be another thing that we could touch on, because Nikola Kozarev was somebody who was imprisoned by the Soviet Union, and literally he wrote equations in his own blood all over the walls, and he figured out a way to travel to different places as himself, but be kind of an etheric being. And supposedly, when you go into the Kozarev mirror, that they've made simulations of it, you do time travel, and you can astral project, and you can go beyond, this realm, and you can. We were talking about it on last Monday's show. Excuse me, where you can actually go to, what would you call it? Teleportation?
Yeah,
you could teleport things. And we've now figured out ways to change one molecule and change mercury into gold. The Japanese have done that. We figured out how to teleport things. Supposedly the Russians and the Germans have both done it. So you have all these weird things that have been harnessed and practiced. And our government is, and Dick, we've talked about this. Our government is actively using quantum communication to talk to other realities.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys because, and Josh in the panel, do you think there's two things that disturb me? Do you think that I was contacted by the devil in that dream? And do you think that I was really somehow present and people saw me there? I can't figure that out. Was I in a different? Did I leave my body and travel to Vegas? I guess is my question.
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Okay, let me give you a couple different things here, and welcome to the show, Fidesz. Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
I'll give you a couple different ideas here. First of all, if you listen to the episodes that were coming out every Friday, we had one on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then I'll say this, and then I'll be quiet for a minute here. But we had someone on the show, Sean, and of course, me and Richard have been recording with him for some time. And we talked about fractals several weeks back, the fractal soul. So your soul is a higher being of you. I don't know how high or how drunk you've ever been, but I have been effed up drunk high. I'm just admitting it. I don't care. People already know. I've already said this before.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten high since 2003, but I have been on another planet high, to where when I was talking, people thought that I was, because it was hallucinogens, and people were, I thought I was being normal and speaking clearly, and people were just like, he's babbling, like, what in the hell? And I was like, why are these people not understanding me? Well, that's what happens when you take certain things, right? Like I said, this is my hell-raising days when I was young. But there was still this higher self that was in control. Like I could still sort of tap into that higher self no matter how inebriated I got. And I used to be a drinker. I'd sit down and I'd drink a bottle of Tawaka and, maybe a 12-pack of beer, just sitting there at the bar, just slamming. And I never got to the point where even if I had to go and expurgate, I never got to the point where I didn't actually still kind of understand or know that there was a higher thing there. So when we started talking about the Panzer, get out of, hold on one second. My cat is totally going after these dream catchers.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, BMR.
Oh, well, yeah. Another, what time is it? 11? I can't read either. I'm getting old.
You got 42 minutes, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so happy early birthday, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm BMR's parrot, by the way.
Around the sun.
Yeah, she's my I love Fidesz. She
I'm
does
his
all
little
my
parrot.
videos.
I'm
Want to get Panzer? He's over here destroying. He's going after those. He thinks they're cat toys. You think they're cat toys? They're not.
Cat toy.
We've had all of our cats on the show today, and half of the dogs. Doing the show at home because it's iced over. I still got to go out and do my job in a little while. But here's the thing: the fractal soul. What we were talking about was like a fractal of yourself, of your higher self. Okay, and so what we are is literally a form of our higher self, and our higher self is a little bit of God's essence that He gives you to be on this planet. And so eventually, you try to go back to your higher self, and then that goes back to the main hard drive, which is God. That's how it works. And people don't really understand that. What demons and archons are essentially are beings that have gone rogue and decided, hey, we don't need to go back to the master architect, the main creator. We're going to do what we're going to do. That's where you get the whole the demiurge, which is something completely different. People think it's God. That's not really God. That's just a smaller architect, fractal, that has set himself up as God. And if you were to listen to what the Yazidis say about him, they believe that he was pardoned for his rebellion against God and that it's actually Lucifer. And so that leads to lots of problems because they live in the Middle East around Islam, where if you don't believe in Allah, you die. And I mean, and they really do. They kill these people pretty regularly. But I've listened to the Yazidis talk. I used to have a very good Kurdish friend. His cousin was into the Yazidi belief. And he was like, listen to this guy talk. And he was trying to show me how crazy they were. But I was listening to this guy talk, and he had a very, like, you could listen to what he had to say and understand he was talking about the peacock god and all this stuff. But all of it is just fractals that are just quantumly going down, down, down. What this has to do with what BMR is talking about is it's a long-winded and sort of, whatever explanation that all of these different abilities and things happen. You could possibly have been a fractal of your own being or essence could have been there, right? And you were using it kind of as an avatar through your dream. It's a lesser dense being from a higher density, right? Or a lower density, right? So the crazy thing though is that you said the devil. Now here's the thing about the devil. There isn't a devil. There are devils. And there isn't Satan. Yeah. There are Shaitan. And they are.
There are some that are even worse than Hallel.
Well, basically, I mean, I got the inclination in this dream when it morphed into the crazy guy. I thought it was some sort of demon, is what I'm saying. Maybe not the devil, not Lucifer.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. So
yeah,
those could be fractal souls too, fractal beings of a higher being, because in the Goetia, you have the 72 demons, right? And then each one of those commands a number of legions.
When you said that, somebody just knocked on my door. Like,
they're not. Hold on. So they're not demons. They're archons, and these archons are the original 72. They were rebellious angels that were captured by Solomon. And we talked about that on your show and on my show when we did the whole Gypsy Rose. So one of these beings sends one of their people to take a part of you and to scare you or to mess with you, or it's allowed to do that for a purpose I don't know. I know you and I have talked extensively, and I know you're not really a follower of the teachings of Christ per se, but you don't reject it or anything, but you don't really get involved in it. And I know, Drake, you aren't either. And this isn't putting anybody on the spot or, whatever. But
I believe in God. I believe in God. That's all.
Just remember, though, that was the whole plan, was so that we could be protected and shielded. And the reason that Christ came to do what he did wasn't to build a religion and a church and oppress people the way that people try to make it. He made it very clear what he was here to do, and to rescue us, save us, and to pull certain individuals out of the hell realms where they didn't belong, because prior to him, things were not correct. And so he said, this is the way to do it. How you do it is up to you. It's all up to you, because you have total free will, right? But if you don't get grounded and be protected and follow the outline, then it gets kind of sketchy, and you could get taken to a hell realm, the abyss, which is not hell; it's a different place, and then you could get trapped in one of these cutout realities, these pocket realities, and this is where the punishment and torment goes on, and it's allowed because of karmic debt, and people don't understand that, they don't get it, and then they'll argue with me about what it is and how it is. Look, I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you what I know to be the nature of reality and how I figured it out. A lot of it is really, truly science. It really is. And magic is just a science that we haven't totally learned to comprehend. But that's very possible that you did get taken by an archonic being or one of their legions, whatever.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I it makes sense with that fractal, the fractal that you were talking about, because here's the thing. When I'm sleeping in Michigan, have the dream, go on YouTube, brother goes to the bar, the casino, bartender IDs me as being there. That is I can't fathom that. And they literally were like, "Are you playing games, Rob? Are you really in Vegas?" When they said that to me, when I was ID, Josh, and everybody listening, I must say that I was like scared for a few days, like I was taken over by something,
I'll bet.
And I think Dreamwalker or Dick said that, yeah, I think you were definitely there. You're the essence of myself was there.
I mean,
I think so, man.
Yeah, I said it's a little bit of both where you were there, but it could have been like Josh was mentioning, it could have been a demonic entity as well, where it's a part of you, but it's mimicking you there. So you're seen there, but you're not actually there, but there's a part of you, an essence of you there. And if anything we know about enemies, whether you believe in Satan or not, whether you believe in the trickster gods in Native American theology or any other theology, you're dealing with an entity that can mimic you. I mean, even we're talking about cryptid community here. We believe in mimics, right? So you have an entity that could probably mimic you over there, but because they're mimicking you, that fractal, there's a connection to you where you're dreaming this, but because they're using a part of your essence of you, you see that connection. But they're still deceiving you and those who are in that scenario in Vegas or wherever the scenario was. So, it's like we said earlier, we can postulate all we want. We don't really know how it really works, but regardless of your belief, there is an entity out there that's out there to trick people and use you and even confuse people. So, I mean, I'll leave that there.
No, yeah, I got you. I
That's
believe
just my postulate. But hearing what you're saying, and like I said, you mentioned a lot of sixes. You mentioned rivers. You mentioned a lot of things that point to the underworld.
Yeah, it was just weird that the guy said he was taking me to the lake and he beat me with not 3 6s, which is allegedly the sign of Satan. And he had 4 6s, and he got the last 6 on the last card because he had 2 6s in his hand. I had 2 aces.
Yeah.
So that was and then just the whole thing with my dad grabbed my hand, who always saves me in these dumb dreams, turns back into the old man, and then opens me up, and I wake up in a fuming heat exhaust. I'm profusely sweating, and I'm like, God, I did a show, and I gotta tell you, everything lined up that night. And I heard you guys talking earlier. Nothing is I don't believe in coincidences either. Yeah, if me and Josh are wearing a Texas hat, that's certainly not a coincidence.
Did you say you were steaming, or like literally steaming, or just?
No, I was hot. I was just sweating profusely.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't steaming. I was not in hell.
That's happened to me before.
I was sweating my butt off.
That happened to me with the whole sweat.
Okay.
It was Yeah, this one was kind of weird, but yeah, I ate some mushrooms, like some of the stuff that I grew, and on the second time, like, because the first time I ate them, it gave me X-ray vision. I could see my bones through my hand, like through the skin, and I just wanted to see if it was like a trip or if those mushrooms are that powerful. So I ate them again, and yes, they do give you X-ray vision, bro. So I got in the tub, and then man, if I tell you, this is like half of the story. So yeah, like I had a heart attack, and I wasn't supposed to come back, and then I did, and I made like a pact, like a deal with God, because I heard his voice. He said to spread his word. And I was like, well, what's your word? Your word has been misconstrued. I don't think it's your word anymore. Tell me what your word is and I'll spread it. And then that was it. I didn't hear anything else. And then fast forward to the heart attack, and I'm on the, like, like I was praying. I was like, I'm not perfect, but I've always believed in your son. And I hope you can forgive me for anything that I've done that has upset you. And then he's all like, what about your daughter? And then boom, I felt like a flame in my heart just explode. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I'm giving up. And I was like, you know what? I know it was you, because you didn't announce yourself. You didn't tell me who you were. You just told me to spread your word. So I know who you are. And I was like, it's you. It's God. And I was like, I don't know what your word is, but I'll figure that out. And as soon as I do, I'll spread it. Just protect my daughter. Because he's all like, hey, your daughter needs you, And then
the word is written on all our hearts.
Yeah, but I saw, I was laying in the bed, in the hospital bed, and it felt like I was being pinned between these two huge rocks, and I couldn't turn my head, and all my left side was like numb, and I could see this tunnel of light, and this whole time I'm thinking all that stuff, and then when I said that, I'll spread your word. He's all like, behold my true creation. And then it was like seeing through like how like when you see a mirage, like the heat off in the distance, how it looks like shiny, like silver, like a mirror kind of. It was like that, but I could see this huge valley. It was this big, huge, lush valley. There's waterfalls falling on both sides, and I could see somebody standing on top of a hill going, hey, hey. And then later I figured out that was me. So that's your higher self that's in heaven. Every time you do a good deed, your higher self plants a seed in heaven. And then that's, those are the fruits of your labor. But like, so I'm seeing this valley, bro, and I could see the sun. The sky was so beautiful. The sun was setting, but there were two suns. And then I heard him say again, behold, my true creation. And then this time I was inside that valley. And I was standing on top of like the foliage that's on the floor, and all these leaves are massive, like the size of a carpet. And I look up, and there's a grapevine. Each grape is a different color, and each grape is about like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. And then I felt like peace and serenity and tranquility, and I was like, yes, Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready to receive your kingdom. And he's like, hey, bro, slow down. Like, what about your daughter? Like right after. That's how much peace and serenity I had. But yeah, so fast forward to the mushrooms. I was in the shower, and I was like, man, how cool would it be if I could just go back to that place, So I tried. I held on to the handle on the shower stand, because I guess the person that used to live there was like an older, older lady. And so I'm holding on to this shit so I don't slip and fall also. And I'm concentrating. And then boom, I shot up, and I see it again. I see like the mirage looking mirror thing, but this time there were two giant light beings. There were two giant light beings standing on the side, and they had 4 arms. Their 2 arms were crossed, and the other arms on their back, one of them was holding like a shield, and the other one was holding a spear. And I was all arrogant, bro. I was like, let me through. The Father commands it. And like they just crossed spears, and then like boom, they shot me back down, bro. Like I fell down so fast. When I got back in my body, I was still holding on. I was still standing up, but then it felt like the gravity got like 10 times, like super intense. They made me kneel down, bro, basically. On one knee, they're like, you get the fuck down, bro. Like, who do you think you are coming over here? But yeah.
One of the things I was going to say too, somebody had said something about this, about Satan, you know, and being his demons were his minions or whatever. Demons are not, they're not fallen, and they're not rebellious angels. The Shaitan, I believe, came from the rebellious angels. That's the whole race of beings that fell
Elohim.
Heaven. Yeah, the opposite of the Elohim, because they were and they fell, but they were rebellious. And then the 200 watchers, the lineage that we know of as demons, technically, would be from the Nephilim that came from the fallen 200 watchers.
They're all half human.
Yeah. So demons
are all half human, bro.
You'll see them looking like humanoidal beings, but the archons aren't necessarily the same thing. They look completely different, and they can take on humanoid shape, but they're not. So Fidesz, you're here. I've never had you in the show, and so I wanted to give you a chance. What did you want to talk about?
I was just trying to tell BMR happy birthday, and you guys did a great job. I love watching your show with your guys' combo with the Gypsy Rose, and I don't know. Is this Bible study?
No, but it's not about the Bible, because this transcends the Bible, because a lot of this stuff isn't in the Bible. This stuff, a lot of it is in different texts. You're not going to find in the basic cut down Protestant Scofield Bible that has been basically shredded down to keep anything out that is too potent. But Christ tells us that we die for lack of knowledge, and so knowledge is the important thing that we're seeking. But to do it spiritually, legally, and correct, that's a strange thing to some people. But what it means basically is we're not looking for a forbidden knowledge like in a book like the Shams al-Ma'arif, or something that's going to give you some problems if you try to read it. And of course, if you watch the show we did about Gypsy Rose, there are books that you really should just stay away from. And if people don't understand these books, then I'd say it would be best to just avoid them. But if you do have an understanding and you can kind of grasp what you're doing or what you're reading, then I would say go for it. Go ahead and read them. But always remember to stay grounded and to, remember what Christ teaches us. That's my point, is that we do deal with these situations, these beings. They come to us and they say things, they do things like what happened with Rob. And you don't know what you're dealing with. You really don't. I mean, because the deck is stacked against you. No pun intended. It is. I always say that. Another book is the Kalal el Malif, which is Son of Gnosis, which is an Egyptian. It's part of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And then there's a Tibetan Book of the Dead, which talks about what you should do when you die and how to transcend through the chaos. Jesus even talks about it in different books of the Gnostics, of how you should approach death and what happens. But people, they want to be able to go into these other realms and come back with enlightenment and not pay a price. And there are people like Aleister Crowley, evil people, who tried to tell people how to transcend and go through the abyss, which, as far as I'm concerned, you might as well just throw yourself into a pit of molten lava, because you're not going to make it through the abyss. Charizon is not forgiving. He doesn't, and he's going to destroy your mind. You won't come back the same being. I have an opinion about that. I believe that this is actually what could be. There's a theory that Lucifer went into the abyss, and when he came back out, he had the black goo. And he had the envious eye against God, and he said that I'm better than God. I'm going to fight God. And the angels that fell with him, the 72 and the Goetia, and then all of their legions, and you can add them up. Somebody's done the math before, and that's a third of the angels that fell. But then
10,000 times 10,000 is 100 million, and that's 33 million if it fell.
That's not correct what you're saying, Richard. You're just spouting.
Maybe not.
Go to the Goetia and read the 72. Each one of them has a certain number of legions. A legion is 5 to 6,000. I would say, some people say it could be as high as 8,000. You get 6,000. And then you add it up, and then if you do it, do the multiplication, then you'll come out with a number. I'm not going to give into it. Richard's like 10,000, 10,000. Maybe not. But the point is this, is that there is a lot of them. Okay. And then there was the 200 fallen. Those, the ones that fell, they were punished severely because they created all kinds of abominations upon the earth. Now, I believe that it's possible that they could be the Archons, they could be the Anunnaki, and that they were the ones that tampered with everything. And Tiamat, she was possibly a part of that lineage and created, because of Insu, her husband being killed, and then she wanted to go after, was it Marduk, her son? So she created these beings, known as the hairy man, the scorpion man,
They
the bull
actually
man.
sent them because Marduk denied her hand in marriage.
Marduk was her son, and he killed Insu, supposedly. So
who was it that was like Marduk, who was best friends with? Was it Enki or Enlil?
Enki and Enlil, yeah. So what ended up
one
happening?
of them was best friends with Marduk, and they created Enlil to kill him because they met each other through a wrestling match, and they became best friends.
Yeah, you're talking about Enki,
like
dude.
Gilgamesh.
You're talking about Gilgamesh and Enki.
Oh yeah,
that's Gilgamesh.
Enki and Gilgamesh. That's right.
So Enki was actually Enlil's
Thank you.
brother, and one of them was the one, Enlil. He was the one that created the flood, supposedly, and then Enki was the one that felt bad for humanity and blah blah blah. You're talking about down the line there. This is a lineage. That's why I tell people these entities, these beings are a lineage. They do these things, and so when they attack you, people don't understand. So Rob, I would like to give Rob this, just to understand, like when something comes for you and attacks you, that your dad, that could be your dad, that could be his job. But and people will tell you that it's not, that it's just you thinking of whatever, but that's not necessarily true. Your dad's, the fractal of your dad that was him could be here watching over you. And that's totally understandable. But there is something that works, and this is why I've been doing this a long time, and I can tell people what really does work. I've heard of it stopping alien abduction. I've covered lots of alien abduction, Bigfoot encounters, Dogman, demonic possession, obsession, you name it. And one of the things that I know that works is to tie, bind, and rebuke in the name of Christ. It's almost scientific, like it really does work. And people will tell me, well, I don't really, I don't subscribe to that, blah, blah, blah. I've heard a lot of Muslims and people tell me that they don't do that. They say some sort of prayer. And I said, how does that work for you? Then it's like, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. They got to say it over and over again. I said, well, maybe you should try this. And to this day, I've only had a couple of Muslim friends of mine actually try it, and it did work. But then one of them said, oh, I shouldn't do that. That's haram because I shouldn't ask a prophet to help me. I'm like, he's not a prophet. He is a prophet, but he's also the son of God. So that is the key. And a lot of people don't want to believe that. But to me, the proof was in the pudding because I've been through a lot of really dangerous paranormal experiences and not paranormal experiences. And I've always called upon Christ, and he's been there for me. But when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah. I wonder oftentimes, Josh, because I prior to this dream that I had, I was very intrigued with the astral projection. So I was reading a bunch of things, and I was not getting guidance from anybody. And I started practicing these meditations, usually late at night, because I just want to see if this was real. And I did this for like 2 months, man, and nothing. I had nothing. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I forgot about it. Then a month later, another truly creepy thing that led up to this dream about a month after is I was sitting in my room, my study area where I study and do work and things like that. And I was in this chair and I was watching some documentary. And I also do suffer from sleep paralysis. I've had this happen to me many times over the last 5 years. It's funny that I started getting sleep paralysis in 2018 when I first started investigating all this stuff. I don't know. Again, not a coincidence, I don't believe.
2018?
2018.
That's when I experienced it for my first time.
Okay. And well, that was my Bigfoot encounter. I seen UFOs and ghosts well before then, but 2018 affected me, I should say. So I'm doing this, and I gave up on this practice of trying to project. And I got to tell you guys, I'm sitting in my chair that I use, and all of a sudden, I think that maybe I'm suffering sleep paralysis, because all of a sudden, I know I'm awake. I'm looking at the documentary on the television, and all of a sudden, for whatever the reason, I'm crawling down. I think I get out of my chair, and I'm crawling down this hallway around the room. And I'm like, why in the hell am I crawling? I'm thinking to myself. And Josh and everyone listening, then when I turned back and looked over my head, I seen my physical body still in the chair, which totally freaked me out. And I called a friend of ours, a mutual friend, Josh, a day later, because he was telling me some things about astral projecting. And he told me that I was on the brink of projecting, and I almost got it. And I said, well, guess what? I'm not doing that ever again, because that was another scary encounter or creepy experience. And then I'm thinking, when you astral project, you don't know where you're going. And I think when you astral project, there's certain entities that take over your body.
You can do it
Is that
if you're not adept enough to target your location.
Yeah, and there again, that man, lucid dreaming, is very important to be able to lucid dream and take control, because your dream state is really like, it can be two things. One is like an entry into the other realm, or it's just like you're not really entering anything. You're just kind of there floating above your body. And a lot of times when you have these dreams, you fall back into your body, like you wake up and you're like you were falling.
Yeah.
You're just like falling. You have the silver cord and it's attached. And I think everybody does it to a degree, not all the time. A lot of people will hover above their body or just in their body.
Mm.
And anything that people say around them, they can actually absorb it into their mind and their spirit, but they don't. It's not in the conscious forethought of their, and then later on they can say it and they'll think that they thought of it. Because when I was young, I learned this. When my sisters were asleep, they used to like to play pranks on me all the time, and we would do all this kind of goofy stuff. I was the youngest, so I got pranked all the time. And one of the things I learned was that you can say things to people while they're sleeping, and then they'll wake up and they'll think that it's their idea. Like, seriously, man. And it works, dude, because they're actually there listening and absorbing it, and the spirit is actually there, just kind of in a stasis. And like, one of the freaky scariest things that ever, it didn't happen to me, but my neighbor Zach, when I was a kid, his older sister and my sister were friends. They were a little close to the same age. His sister was like a year younger than mine. And so when he was a kid, he told me, he says, dude, I was staying the night at his house. I was like 7 years old, like in second grade. And he tells me, he says, when my sister sleeps, I see her ghost floating above the bed. And at the time when I was a little kid, I was like, it's freaky, dude. That scared the crap out of me. And then when I got older, I realized, I said, oh, dude, because like maybe 6 months later, I had my first out-of-body experience that I could remember. And I thought, that's what it is. It is her ghost, but it's her spirit. And it just kind of like floats there. But I think that when you have business to conduct, you can leave. Now, when you're being taken out of your body by an archon or a demon, that's a problem, because there could be something that's trying to possess you or trying to use your avatar, which is your soul, and it can project that soul into places, and people will see you. I had a friend that ended up down on the docks in Houston witnessing a crime, and he said, I swear, he told me, my brother, and everybody, I think my brother's probably in the chat here. He told us, he's like, dude, I witnessed it, and these gangsters, these criminals saw me. He's like, but I wasn't physically there. So something, because he was messing around with something where his girlfriend was, and then he got kind of involved in it. And I told him, I said, dude, and what Chado says about if you don't know what you're doing, he had these guys, they're triads. I mean, like they were after his ass because
that's like the most powerful gang in the world.
So he wasn't there. He got taken there by one of these trickster entities and made people believe that he was really there because they saw him there. Simple as that. I mean, and he's like, I was asleep. Well, imagine, you're asleep and then you get seen and somebody like the police or somebody see you,
Right.
somewhere.
Somebody
was talking about Anton LaVey earlier. Anton LaVey, one of the famous stories about him is that he was trying to possess a woman, which a human spirit trying to possess is very difficult. I mean, you would have to go through some serious adept.
And she was like, estaba entregada, bro. She was like, she belonged to him.
Yeah.
So like,
that was
basically the mission to do that. So
I know somebody who actually was friends with one of his ex-girlfriends, and she cut my hair once. She was a Puerto Rican lady, and she was telling me about a phone call that this woman received from Anton after he had died, and that she personally heard it and witnessed I said, was there a way it could have been faked? She says, no way, dude. This was his voice talking to her from beyond. He was in a hell realm, and he's trying to get out. But he's ordering her to try to do all these things. Again, I can't do this.
Can you forgive me? That sucks, bro.
Supposedly he was messing with a woman, and so they cut his silver cord. And
it was his daughter. It was his daughter.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Unless that dude's lying, I don't.
Yeah, that's the story. The story that I heard was that it was a woman that he had been messing around with, and she wanted to get away.
It was his daughter, and like his granddaughter was in a internment hall, like for troubled teenagers, and they had her in this glass, like this shockproof glass cubicle because she was a vampire.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's another thing we've talked about on the show, like the cube. Okay, when a very powerful witch or warlock threatens you with a cube, you better take it seriously because the Chinese, the Far East, the Asians of the Far East, they've known something about this for a long time that a lot of people in the West don't take it seriously, and it's feng shui. And when they do all the finger prayers and all that stuff, that's a Buddhist thing, and you can use them to calm you down or whatever. But you can also, if you invert that, you can bring negative energy to you. I'm not going to do it. But and then you literally live in boxes. We live in cubes. Why is that? Why do we Minecraft ourselves? That is something that it was taught to us by the Archons, by the fallen. Not the rebellious, but the fallen. The rebellious
most of our houses are built in cubes or rectangles, right?
Exactly.
I mean, just think about it.
Yeah, and that was done by design because the Chinese. I talked to this Chinese lady, and she's from the Fujian province, and so of course, there's, they have their own beliefs, whatever. But we were talking, and one of the things she said when we were on the phone talking, she was from the Fujian province, but she was Taiwanese. But originally, her family's from Fuji. She's very old, so she was around after Chiang Kai-shek and all that, and the diaspora of the Chinese to the Taiwan island. So it's a government in exile, right? Technically, but the Chinese want everybody to say, "Well, that's not really whatever," and they have a big problem with it, and we're supposed to go to war with them over it, and blah blah blah. Okay, so anyway, she's telling me about it. And she says my husband was dying, and so I made sure. This is just in casual conversation. She was talking about being taken, and I already did this episode. She was taken to the underworld. She was abducted. But not abducted by what we would think of as conventional aliens, unless you want to say that the people from the underworld were aliens. But these were elves, dark elves that had taken her to this underworld. And she was saying that her husband was, she goes, when my husband was dying, and her daughter was translating, she's a surgeon in Atlanta. And she says, when my husband was dying, I made sure to take him outside so that he could die outside of the square. And so I'm just kind of sitting there listening to this, and I'm like, wait, what? And so I told her, I said, can you ask her to repeat that? And she said it again, right? And I don't speak Mandarin. Like I speak a little bit of Cantonese, a little bit of Mandarin. I've been to Hong Kong, so I had to learn a few phrases. I thought, then I realized everybody there spoke English because of Great Britain control there. But this woman, she was telling me in Mandarin, and she says, look. She's like, my husband. She's like, and then the woman that had reached out to me from Atlanta, she was like, she's like, you understand that in Chinese culture? I said, yeah, I get it. I said, I just never heard anybody say it. But they don't believe. They're very against, if you know you're going to die, to be out away from a square, because you can be trapped and become confused. Your spirit can be trapped by the cube. Now, here's the thing. We have an entire group of people known as Jewish people and another type of people known as Islamic people who actually are borderline cube worshipers, which is the cube of Saturn. The Islamic people run around that cube at Mecca, and Jewish rabbis will put it on their heads. And then they go to the Wailing Wall, whatever. This is something you should not do. Okay. Now, I'm not telling people how to be in their religion. Do what you're going to do in your religion, whatever. But that is very dangerous, because that is Saturn worship. And Saturn is the Shaitan. That's Satan.
Oh.
And the cube is a prison. It's a prison. Look up the 7 towers of hell. They were created by the jinn to enslave demons. Now, that is a weird thing, because a lot of people will equate demons with jinn, but in Islam or in pre-Islamic Arabic times, they actually believed that the jinn were good, bad, and in between. They're just kind of ambivalent. They don't really care. As long as you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. But there were jinn kings that actually built that. And there's another place in Azerbaijan that has a wall. I think I posted it on the Facebook group or whatever. And that wall supposedly is a magic wall, and there's evil behind it, and it's not to be released or let out. It's not going to be. They're not going to be able to come out until the end to face final judgment.
I have a question.
The wall kissers, bro.
For you, Wolf. So why do you think that there's so many people attracting like demons out there right now? Because I feel like that's a common theme on the show. Is it something they're doing, or are they just out there attracting?
It's the new age.
That depends. That's a broad question.
Well, let me answer
And all that stuff is
piece of
magic.
it, because I think that things are ramping up, and one of the problems is, and me and Richard have talked about this on the Monday show many times. What do you think one of the problems that's happening right now is, Richard?
Spells and witch.
I believe that they've opened the interdimensional doorways so that it's like a super highway at this point through quantum computing and through CERN, and that they've unleashed. So in 2016, in September of 2016, they ran that Hadron Collider at 13.7 TeV for 2 weeks straight. And the guy who was the head of the collisions came out and was like, "We opened the portal."
Yeah,
and
and
like,
talks
sorry,
about that in
guys.
Revelation. In Revelation, it actually talks about them opening the abyss.
The doors, gates to the abyss. Yeah, I believe they did that in 2016.
Yeah. What's
Can
crazy is
I-
that, like, I had a Mandela effect happen to me just recently. Like, I have a black vehicle, an SUV, a Durango. And when I bought it, the guy, and it wasn't like this high pressure sales. A friend of mine owns a dealership, so we were talking, and he says, "Hey, if you want another good vehicle to a patrol vehicle, whatever, because I have a Charger." He's like, and I wanted that, but they didn't. The Charger they had wasn't interested in white, and so I said, "I'd like another vehicle." He said, "I have a Dodge Durango GT. It's black on black," and he tells me, black trim, black interior, black wheels. And I go out there, and Anthony, Nelly, my witnesses, we went out there, black, all black. So 2 days ago or 3 days ago, right before the freeze, I was running around preparing, getting everything ready. And I'm getting into the vehicle, and I look down, and my rims are gray.
Oh my God.
Really?
No, I'm not even joking, dude.
Interesting.
I told Anthony, I said, "Come here, look at this." And him and Nelly were with me, and I said, "What color is that?" They were like, "Gray." And I was like, "When were our rims gray?" I would not have wanted that. I would have been like, maybe somebody
them out when you were sleeping, bro.
I've been there.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff like that, man. I've had some weird Mandela effects, and I think that people really pay attention. You'll notice it. But the average person, they don't pay attention. Like, I've noticed things like they'll just throw something somewhere, and then the next day it'll be moved. And I'll tell them, "Is that where you put it?" And they'll be like, "No." Okay, well then, what happened?
That Christmas song was the last Mandela effect I heard of that guy was talking about on your show.
Yeah, my buddy Dave. Yeah, about
That real stuff there, man. That's crazy.
White Christmas.
I played it for somebody, and they're like, "Oh, there's different versions of it." I'm like, "No, there's
Yeah,
not."
that's what somebody tried to tell me too.
But
that's what they always do.
There's one.
Well,
woman
now
that
they're
sings
saying
it.
that
Right.
ET says home phone, not phone home. ET says home phone.
What?
I literally,
What?
You're not
I
living in
played
the
this
same
for a
Hold on,
guy
hold on,
the
hold on.
other
What did
day.
she say, Fidesz?
I played this for a guy the other day. I said, "What does ET say?" And he goes, phone home." And I go, "No, now they're saying it's home phone." And he goes, "No." I go, "Watch." So I go on YouTube and I play it. They changed it. Now it says home phone.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
does.
And when they
god.
change it to
I've
things,
noticed
it
that
doesn't
too.
even make
Words are
sense.
like
It's like
weird
it's
now.
stupid.
Go
It
listen
doesn't
to it.
even-
I'm telling you, go listen to it.
Yeah.
I believe you, but it doesn't
Hey,
even like.
Phone, not phone.
no, I am your father.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
get a copy of
I
that
used to
and
watch
see
that
what
with
you
my
think.
brothers, and I used to say my brother's name and I am your father
I
all
am
the
your
time. I've said it 100
father.
times.
I
What
am
is
your
it now?
father. Yeah, we all know that one.
Yeah, no, I am your father instead of Luke. I am your father.
Oh man.
It's
No,
even
he
in
said,
Pineapple Express,
I
the
am your
movie.
father.
Here's another one. You know, I'm a sports fan. I'm a big Cowboys fan, and I like the Texans and the Raiders and the Buccaneers. Those are my teams in football.
Hey, wait a
And
minute. I thought you liked the
I
Lions.
know.
I thought you tweeted you on the Lions, man.
Yeah, right.
Go Lions.
I don't hate the Lions. I just don't.
I
I'm not a
know, I
Lions
know.
fan. But so the Cowboys in the 1993 NFC Championship, and now people will get confused because they play like the 92 season. They'll play the championship in 93, but it's really for the 92 season. So what I'm talking about is the 93 season, which was played in January of 94. The Cowboys and Niners played each other 3 times in a row. It was the 92, 93, and 94 championship. And the Cowboys won the first 2, losing the third one because we got rooked by the rest. But that's whatever. Here's the thing. In the second one, the final score was 38-20. I remember that. I remember that very clearly. Yesterday, I saw a highlight somebody had sent me, and it was a guy that I follow, you know, whatever, and he was showing me this the score change. It's now
Really?
38-21. And I'm like, no way, dude. That is
Amazing.
no way. I know the scores to these games because my memory, you can't fool me with that stuff. Like they'll try to fool people and they'll be like, oh, it's that way. And no, it is not, because you can't. I remember things, dude. And you know, if anybody watches the show, they know I have a pretty strong memory.
Yep.
And I can tell you that's not true.
So is it someone doing like little events at once, or is it like what Richards was saying, where we just went through this massive shift through some like
Well,
and everything's
I can
changing all the time?
I can explain it right now. What according to the guy who created the quantum computer, the D-Wave quantum computer, Jordy Rose said that when they operate their D-Wave quantum computer and they go interdimensionally, that they will put out like 86%. This is his words: 86% power. And get 125% back, and those, when they get this reaction back, which he claims they're summoning entities from another dimension, but when they do that it changes things on our dimensional plane, and it's all weird, just weird, dumb little things like this.
Everything is breaking. Everything's a polarity, and that's getting thrown off.
Waves.
Remember when your heart used to be over on the left side? Now it's in almost the middle of your chest. Remember when your pulse used to be in the different place?
In the middle.
In the middle.
Now it's on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle, and now it's right here. Yeah.
What was the other one? Wasn't it like South America is now like smaller or something? Wasn't there something with that
No, it's
one?
moved way over. Like it
And
used
moved
to be
way
like
over?
below us. Now it's like way over. Like
And India's way smaller.
India's way smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys even remember? I swear I had a globe. My grandfather got me a globe, okay, when I was a little kid. Then I started getting an interest in the maps. How come Cuba dwarfs Florida?
Yeah.
Wasn't it always smaller?
Dude, it wasn't that huge like it is now.
Really?
Yeah.
You're right.
Just a tiny little.
Or the Britney Spears one with her doing the microphone with Britney Spears.
Yep. Stuff like that. Weird things like that.
But I looked that up online and it says no, everybody just remembered seeing her in her live shows. And I go, no, I never watched her any of her shows. I did not like Britney Spears. There was something about her energy I didn't really like. And so when you watch the old video, you can see her moving a mic that's not there. And I remember that mic because I remember thinking how dumb it was. But they're like, oh, it was never there. I'm like, yes, it was.
Of course.
I remember it.
Well, it's silly things like, for example, the Battle of Kiev in 1941. The amount of it was a great big
Richard brings
Pinter
this one up every time.
every single time because it has changed at least 30 or 40 times. Every time I look up the amount of
It wasn't
tanks,
that much. No, it was about 3 or 4 times that it changed.
Mega Mandela.
every time I look it up, it's almost changed. Every couple of weeks, I give it a glance and it's changed.
So what are they going to change next?
They keep running that collider, man. It's just going to keep breaking more.
They're supposed to be
Right.
making
Yeah,
a big
pretty
one.
much.
And
I feel like it's like that Rick and
Super
Morty
hard. They
cartoon.
never died, bro. So it could go back to normal.
Wait, when did you say they turned on the collider?
I mean, who knows? The last time I know they did during the eclipse. I know they have probably recently.
Yeah, it's been running for a while now. It's been running for quite a while, full bore.
Have you guys watched Rick and Morty? It's kind of like that, where every time they go into one universe or do it, it just like totally shifts, and you can never go back to the universe you left. It's like
That's like
you know,
some butterfly effect stuff.
That's, That's kind of like that show Sliders from back in the day in the
Sliders.
Sliders.
Holy crap!
spiders.
Yeah, you know what's crazy when you're talking about all these different Mandela effects and all these things. There is a race of people, of beings on this earth. There are people that want to put us back to the pre-Adamic time, and they believe that Adam was an androgynous being, and that because he wanted to have a mate, or it wanted to have a mate because it was lonely, that's how male and female were split up. So the end game is to ultimately make all of us go back, and then eventually we go back to the pre-Adamic, which is androgyny.
Exactly.
That's one of their end goals. And I'm telling you, it is a society that is part of and masonry, and they don't, whether they know it or not, they don't really know it. That a lot of them don't, but the higher ones, they learn it, and it's too late at that point. But it is Freemasonry, and it is Khazaric Judaism. And this is the end game, and they use different elements. They use Satanism, they use communism, they use all of these different bad
Means
things.
of control.
Okay, as a Jew, can I interject here? Like, it's not just Khazaric. What people tend to
Okay, then it's
mistake-
all of them. How about that?
No, it's not all of them. It's the
the
Kabbalic.
ones that
It's
resist
the Kabbalic Jews. So
yeah, but
there's
how many of them
different-
are openly resisting it, Joel? How many?
Oh, myself.
Well, but and my
There's
friend
over
Keith,
100,000 Jews in Israel right
how
now
many,
that
how
are.
many are actively trying to resist what's happening? Like me, another
Yes,
arm
there's-
of this is Catholicism. Now, I don't want to attack people and make people Catholics and Islam and Judaism and get angry. But what Richard said the other day about Catholicism and how they're when they do the movement and they crucify Christ every few minutes.
Yep.
I mean, that's something that's a problem. I mean,
No,
in Catholics,
it is.
they don't want to hear it.
But okay, here's what I'm trying to say is okay, you have only so many hundred thousands of Jews in Israel right now who are actively doing the ministry. They're evangelizing. They're out there bringing Jews to Christ.
Messianic Christians.
Yes, like myself. And here's the thing: is it's not fair to say because Catholics did this, all Christians are guilty, or Orthodox did this, all Christians are guilty, or Protestants.
We're all guilty
And
for not
and
holding
my
each other
my
accountable.
gripe is, as a Jew, my gripe is when, as a Jew, I'm trying to evangelize to other Jews. It makes our job harder to bring Jews to Christ when the rest of the world is blaming them for something they do, because the majority of the Jews are not even mystic Jews of Orthodox or Chabad or Hasidic Jews. A lot of them are actually what you would say secular. They just go through the motions. They're just doing it because they grew up in it. They're not actual Jews. And we could say the same about Muslims. There's a lot of Muslims that are not Muslims because they actually believe in the stuff. It's just the way they were raised, and they just go through the motions.
Okay.
So
the ones that are in
there's a
church-
lot of when we're trying to evangelize, it makes it harder because then all of a sudden now when we're trying to preach Christ, it's a Western God, right? It's not their God. And it's like, no,
No.
no, this is your God. You just don't recognize him yet. But then there's this resistance that's built up because now the world is attacking them for
Well,
telling
what
them.
about this, Joe? What about this? What about this? When you were raised by
At
the
least you guys aren't getting rounded up on the streets.
hold on, listen. So you were raised by the Talmud
For
to
real.
believe a certain way, and when you are following two books in particular, the Kabbalah and the Talmud, those books right there denounce Christ in every shape or form. So you technically are no longer a Jew. You know, you're not Jewish. You're not Jew. And you got to remember the word Jewish is Jew-like. It doesn't mean Jew, right? That's two
No,
different things.
that's the misconception. Jew is not even about the religion. It's about Jew is like you come from the land of Judea. You came from the land of Judea, and this is kind of like what I sometimes have a difficulty aligning myself with certain people because it's like, bro, you need to educate yourself. We talk about we die of lack of knowledge, but then we, at the same turn, with the lack of knowledge, want to turn the daggers on a group of people who are not at fault. They were separated by God. They were given a way to live. But because the enemy does not want those people to live for God, of course the enemy is going to infiltrate those people. Henceforth, when they were in their Babylonian captivity, the Talmud came out. Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalicism came out, and when we demonize a group of people, like my people, and we wanna stamp this tag on them, it makes our job harder as people who know the truth and want to evangelize the truth because people forget Judaism, like Christianity, like Islam, has different branches, has different beliefs, have
There are a
different
lot of
sects.
different branches, but do you agree
Yeah,
though that most of those branches
in
are not
back in the days you had the Sadducees, you had the Pharisees, you had the Essenes, but people don't want to talk about that, right? They just
I
want to
talk about it
focus
all the
on
time.
they want to focus on the rabbinical Jews who ended up pushing the Talmud, who pushed the Kabbalicism and the mysticism, and it's like, okay, we can push and focus on that and demonize a group of people on that, fine, but it's not who they are. And you got to remember, they are a lot of these people who think about Paul. Paul was a Pharisee of Pharisees. He
He
said it
was Saul.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saul of Tarsus. He was a Pharisees of Pharisees. And a lot of us who try to minister to other Jews, we say this: they who persecute us. I have cousins in Israel who try to push the ministry of Christ out there, who have their tires slashed, who have been stoned, who have their windows broken by rocks, by Orthodox Jews, Hasidic Jews, and every kind of Jew that proclaim they are Jews, because we are blood traitors to them for accepting Christ. We're
Yep.
not true Jewish, but let's be real. The establishment, the religious order, is a satanic order. It's
It is.
not God's order.
Diversion, distraction. That's all it is.
Well,
But
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
say
saying
this
is,
though, Joel.
when the world
When
attacks Jews, you don't realize how much strain. And this is what upsets me because there's a lot of good work going on that are bringing a lot of Jews out of the secularism, out of the mysticism, out of all of that. There's a growing population, but a lot of the demonization that happens to us is not even by non-Jews. It's Jews demonizing other Jews
yeah,
who are trying to bring people to Christ. And what I'm saying is, a lot of people are falling into that trap.
you're missing a very valid point though, and to me it is that you are no longer technically a Jew because you're like Paul, okay? Saul of
Well,
Tarsus, you're now Paul because you
well,
accepted Christ. You are now in the true covenant.
We've all been
right,
grafted
but
in. Yes.
Paul never. This is the thing. Paul never rejected his Judaism, and Christ
He went
never
to try
called us to
save
convert.
them, but they almost killed him for it.
Yeah, and
And
Christ
they'll
never
kill you
called us to
too if you
convert.
try.
Neither did Paul. Paul. Here's the thing: if we look at the Torah, if we look at the New Testament, and we look at what Christ brought, because he said he didn't come to end the law, but to fulfill the law. If we really look at
But
the essence of
what
what
was
he's
the law,
saying,
though? And why were certain books, why are they downplayed? Like the book of Amos, which is what Richard was talking about. And then my gripe, too, is that they took out the book of Daniel, which prophesies Christ, right?
yeah, there's certain books of Daniel that they cut out, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. These
is-
people have completely cut themselves off from God. Now, I'm going to say something here. Me personally, I am half Hispanic. My mother was born a Catholic, but she rejected Catholicism, and she said that this has nothing to do with God or Jesus. And if you ask the regular lay Catholic out in the street, they're not even going to identify as a Christian. I used to date a woman who did not identify as a Christian. She said, "I'm Catholic." And I kept saying, "So you're a Christian?" "No, I'm Catholic." This is how the ignorance of these
No,
people.
I get what
You
you're
gotta
saying.
dust your feet off and move on from these people. I mean, I'm telling you.
No, I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is the labeling that happens makes makes it.
You
guys don't get labeled as much.
They're
though,
doing
'cause it's
bad
not
works,
that-
and they're doing bad works, whether they're satanic, Jewish, Islam, Catholic. It doesn't matter. Even Protestants that do things that are not correct. Okay, I've met Pentecosts, and they're speaking in tongues. I'm not attacking the Pentecost. Okay, I'm just saying I don't agree with it because you don't know what you're spouting off.
No, I get what you're saying, Josh. I'm not saying what I'm saying in general. Try to understand what I'm saying. I'm not attacking you, Josh. I get where you're coming
I'm
from.
not attacking you either, Joe, and I don't care that you're Jewish any more than that my rims are now gray instead of black. It's just what it is.
But you get what I'm saying. Like what I'm trying to say
I
is,
get what you're saying. It makes it harder for you to proselytize
be mean to each other. Yes.
convert to Messianic Jewish people. But there's going to be people, Joe, that are just going to not go along with it, and they're not.
No, I get it. And here's the thing.
People curse me every day.
Think about it. The New Testament. Let's be real about it. If you research it, the majority of the people who were Jews, Paul, Peter, all of them, all the apostles were
Every one of
Jews.
them, pretty much.
Yes, and they were by definition Messianic Jews. Were they ostracized and attacked and killed by their own people? Yes.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is there is a group out there trying to reach out to their own brethren, but when there's this attack on their brethren.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and it's you're saying that tone it down because then they don't want to convert, and
it makes our job harder. And
missionary work is hard, but the thing is that these people are going to attack you. I mean, Christianity gets attacked hardcore.
We could say the same about Islam. How many Christians has Islam killed?
Dude, it's innumerable.
Exactly, and that's my point.
Killed a ton of people. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, man, there is and it's a satanic order. Okay,
That's all is.
The thing people don't understand. They really don't.
I have no problem saying the Hasidics and the mysticism, the Kabbalics are all satanic because they come from Babylon. If we really come down to it,
that and they killed Christ, and they still try to crucify Christ through their beliefs. The Talmud, the Pharisees.
Right.
I mean,
it's all Babylonian. Let's get real. It's all Babylonian.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Here's the thing, Joel, you and I, because I love these kind of talks, but right now it's not the place for it, but we are going to record. You just messaged me earlier. Let's get that done. And you can have your platform to say what you got to say, and I'll put it out there, and we can talk about it back and forth and whatever. You're a brother in Christ. I love you, and I don't have a problem with you being Jewish or whatever race or religion or whatever. I'm not that way. But when I talk about these beings, right is right and wrong is wrong. Now, when I say Catholics and Jews and Muslims and Satanists is a different thing. I know that Drake would disagree because he's whatever. But I'm going to say this. I don't dislike them for their belief, their religion, but when their religion is a tenet of their religion is to attack my belief, then that's a problem. I don't like communism. I've been very vocal about it, and one of my friends is a communist, and I don't know how this happened, but she apparently is, and I didn't get on her page and say anything.
She
but
is,
I
bro.
think she's
You have no
very
idea.
misled. It's very, very vile.
And Josh, understand, I'm talking to you because I'm in the same boat with you, bro. Like Zoroastrians, I got no beef with Zoroastrians. Zoroastrians are some of the chillest people in the world, but there's so few of them. But I can talk to a Zoroastrian. You know what I mean?
What's the
They are
worst thing that we
one of the
know
most
is
peaceful people you get to
monotheistic
meet.
religion. Yeah,
You know,
it
that's
predates any of our religions.
The problem is the war on Edom and the war of the war against Amalek and the war against Rome. I believe that's what the big problem is, Joel.
Well,
And
also
it,
when they talk about Esau, I mean,
and Edom.
Israel, and then they should
Well,
pit
I don't
Israel.
think anybody
and
should have that
it's
much
what like
control.
I try to communicate to you guys before, and I think to an extent you agree. It's not even Judaism itself. It's you have a separated tribe, the tribe of Dan, and when
Yeah,
you
the
come down to
satanic
the
tribe.
root,
Yes.
you know, and that's the root of it. That you got a disinherited, angry group that wants to, derail the rest of the group because they got screwed over
Well,
because
and
they
their
did
power
evil.
base is what it all amounts to, and the people that are in charge are going to run the other people.
No,
The way it
that's
is.
correct. And what I'm trying to say is, let's put the blame on where it really belongs and not just generalize Jews and stuff, because it really does harm the effect of reaching
Then
out to
let's
these people.
agree to call it Talmudic, Kabbalistic Jews.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's
And
what
it's
they
a
are.
Babylonian.
But
It's not even Jewish.
a
It's not
satanic
even a
order.
Jewish
No, it's not.
concept.
It's a satanic
Bro,
order.
call
Yes,
them
it is.
Luciferians, bro. That's their thing.
But I gotta
And
say
even
this.
if you go to the Septuagint, the Bible, any scripture, when people recite, oh, the synagogue of Satan, let's be real. Synagogue is a Greek word. Synagogue is
Mhm,
congregation. It's assembly. It's
mhm.
church.
So the
And,
congregation of
and
Satan,
but
and Jesus said that, right? He said that that's what they are.
But yeah, if we
Mhm.
go to the actual Aramaic, the Hebrew, it's congregation. It's not necessarily
So they're the
because if you
congregation
go
of
to
Satan.
Septuagint, if you go to the Septuagint from the beginning to the end, it's all synagogue. But when we translate to the English, all of a sudden, when we talk about the synagogue of Satan, then it's synagogue. It's not assembly. It's not the church. It's not the congregation. It's synagogue. Because guess what? At that time, when it was translated in those times, it was synagogue that the Jews adopted because they forget that the Seleucids for a long time did rule Israel, and Israel started using the word Greek words of synagogue and a lot of Greek words and terminology. It's like in Spanish. In Spanish, we have a term called ojalá. Ojalá means God willing, God wish, whatever, but there's no true definition for it. Ojalá can be God. If you really
It's like saying
bring,
inshallah is what it
yeah,
is.
It's like saying I hope.
ojalá is an
It's like saying I
Arabic
hope.
word. So
Ojalá y no vaya a llover. It's like, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. Ojalá y no van a perder
exactly.
los
So
Cowboys. I hope the Cowboys
synagogue
don't.
became a Jewish.
But Joe,
That's what I'm trying
I have a
to.
question for you though. Joe, aren't you Sephardic technically?
Yes, Sephardic Jews. And
Okay.
here's the thing: you got Ashkenazi Jews, you got Sephardic Jews. Yes, Ashkenazis, yes, they have Khazarian and other mixtures going on, but there's a lot of mixture going on genetically between Sephardic and
So here's my
Ashkenazi.
point to
Which one's
anybody who's
Stream Ball, bro?
listening: if you are in the process of converting or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But if you attack the tenets of my belief, and that is the foundation of my life, which is my following of Christ, that I have a problem with. If you don't do that, and you don't impede upon my spiritual right or my physical right or my mental rights, I don't have a problem with you. But if
Okay,
you
that's
do that, I have a problem.
okay.
ISIS does that to everybody.
Here's my question, Josh. If you identify as a Christian and I attack all Christians,
Over
is
here.
that fair?
I didn't attack all Jews.
No, okay, I'm not trying to say that. Like what I'm trying to say is when people say Jews or Zionists or this or that or the
Yeah,
other,
and I guess I should be
it's-
more specific, but I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, the
yeah,
majority.
and that's what I'm getting at. I
Yeah.
understand when you say it, Josh. Guess what? I'm not taking offense. I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is, what we need to do as a community is identify and zero in on those people. Because
And here's
when
another
we
thing
don't
too.
zero in, guess what? They get to escape. They get to scapegoat and put the blame
Yep.
on other
And,
people.
and if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know I've actually done a show about this. And
Yes, I
I
know.
had a Hasidic Jew on when we talked, me and him, and we talked about how I believe that
What Jessica just put
Israel,
on the
channel,
head.
hold on one second. So Israel will be laid bare as a sacrifice by these people, these Khazars. They're not really Jewish people. They're not.
Yes, I agree, Josh.
Yeah, and they're going to use that as a blood sacrifice. It is literally that's what they're doing, and they're setting it up that way. And look at the president, or not the president, the prime minister. He's a Polish Khazar. He is not even Jew. I bet you he doesn't have even a
Russian, but yeah,
whatever.
But what I'm saying,
Well, Polish, whatever.
Did you know
He's
Arabs are Semitic?
what I'm trying to say, Josh, is I get what you're saying. I trust me, dude. I would not follow you if I truly did not believe what you're saying right now.
No. And Joel, here's the thing, and anybody who's listening, I am never going to go, oh, somebody comes on, somebody kowtow to their beliefs and be like, nobody knows me, man. They know how I don't change. I'm this way. And if somebody presents the evidence, I will change to that or what I see. But the problem is, and I got to say this, one of my best friends, he's living up in Colorado, he's Jewish. And he was one of the people that educated me about the Kol Nidre and all the other things that were going on. And I learned Judaism very well. I studied it. I actually went with him and I talked to rabbis. Some of those rabbis I still consider to be friends. I've talked with them and I've learned from Muslim clerics. I don't agree with their beliefs, but I do respect them as people. And I do believe that they believe they're doing what's right. Now, I know pastors, preachers, reverends, all these different types, priests. One of my friends is her best friend from Germany is a Catholic priest, and he's a good guy. I'm still friends with this guy. But the thing is, I don't agree with him, and we will argue till the cows come home or until Christ returns. Because I'm going to stand by what I believe is right and my principles. So, with all due respect, I'm not attacking you or anybody. But the thing is, these people are doing what they're doing.
I agree, Josh. I 100% agree with you. I'm just saying, like, think about the audience. Not everyone that follows you right now, that's listening to the podcast right now, have been following you for you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They may be coming in and don't understand the full extent of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You and I understand what we're talking about, but
and you and I need to record, and we need to get into this because when you were talking about the talisman that you used, I knew what that was. And how many people know that? Because I understand.
Right. And you know what? If you think about it, it's a common Christian practice. If you think about it, there's a lot of Christians who will take the Bible, encase it in a some type of material to preserve it, and bury it in their land as a sign to God, as, hey, this land is consecrated to God, and that's what the mezuzah is. And I understand what you're saying, where there is, this mischievousness among, mystics, and I have no problem calling them out, and Kabbalistic people who will put Talmud, who will put Babylonian text instead of the word of God in the mezuzahs, and that brings evil into the home versus warding off the evil, which the word of God does.
Yeah, and as the Jewish would call them the shadim, the Satan, whatever. They don't sleep, they don't stop, and it's an ever-present threat. These people that play with the dibuk, I mean, all of this stuff, it's evil. It's absolutely evil.
Yep.
I saw one in a garage show one time at this lady. She was a Jewish lady, and I knew what it was. And she was like, oh, you knew? And I knew so much about her belief that she thought I was part Jewish or something. And I said, look, I know about your belief. I don't agree with it. But, I'll talk to people from all over the place. Like I talked to a guy at the store, and he was from, Anthony was with me. He was Nepalese. And we were talking about Kathmandu, and he thought I had been there, and I said no. And they speak Orshu and all this stuff, and
that's not the case. What it is okay. There's with and let me go back, to the Jewish people. There is this scar, and I believe it's not input there by the world, but it is put there by the enemy. And remember, if anything, God, the devil wants to confuse and destroy the people of God. Whether you be Jew or you be a born again Christian who gets grafted into the tree of life and be part of that tree, because there's when it comes down to when Christ brings us in, there's no Jew, no Gentile. We just become part of the root of David, the root of Yeshua, of Christ, of God, of Jesus. And when we get married into that, where we are part of that one tree, that family, the devil wants to disrupt that. So he's going to disrupt it by, what? Let's divide the Jews. You know what? Let's divide Christianity by denominations. Think about it.
Yeah.
Christianity is so weak because it's divided by so many denominations where no one can agree to anything. And then Islam is overtaking America. The Shia
there's only
Islam,
26
for the
sects
most
of
part.
Islam, but 26 sects still was enough to cause a civil war in Lebanon between the Sunni and the Shiites.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's enough to the Muslim Brotherhood to cause enough division to destroy Egypt, to destroy
And if you
Libya.
notice how, if you look at the Fulani Muslims from Nigeria, they have spread all over the continent. And if you've been to Africa, you've been to all these different places, you'll see them. They're everywhere. And then they're even in Japan now. I mean, and there was a video the guy did on Instagram, and it showed these Nigerian immigrants, but they weren't Christian, they were Fulani. They were harassing everybody.
Yeah,
Somebody's
and
got back on.
I mean, it's to the point where Japan's trying to expel them.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of them because they're such a pain in the ass, and but that's a conversation for another time. And Joe, we still need to record together.
They've taken Europe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get out of here.
Hey, Joel.
Joel,
do you like my blanket?
Yeah, definitely. We should record because there's a lot of stuff we need to clear out of the air. Because there's a lot of stuff. Yes, Judaism brought from Babylon that is evil that has infected modern culture.
Yeah,
and
what it was when they were taken in by Assyria, the Assyrians that conquered Israel. And they were taken into captivity, and then it changed hands over to Babylon, then it changed hands over to Persia. Cyrus kicked them out and said, hey, here, go, whatever. But they took back these Babylonian occult practices, and they used them. They continued them, But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to everybody who showed up, man. It was a great show. It's been 3 hours, and I got to go out in the cold and try to do my job.
The cold weather in Texas, Josh. It's cold. Come on.
Oh man, are you kidding me? It's 22 degrees here, brother.
Oh, are you kidding? In Texas?
Yeah, it was 15. It reached the up to 15 today earlier.
Oh, is that from the ocean?
It was cold, man. It was really cold. Yeah, it has been in the last several years. It has gotten down into the teens every year.
Oh wow.
So it actually got down to -2 in 2022 or 21, something like that. Pretty bad. I mean, it's been pretty bad up here in Austin. It's gotten,
Gotcha.
At one point, it was global warming. Now it's global cooling.
They need to make up their whatever these
cycle.
whatever the hell they are. They need to make up their minds on what they want to do. Doesn't know what.
Hey, you guys, it's been so mild.
Like we should.
It's been so mild in southern Michigan where I live. I sold my snowblower 5 years ago, and I've got like 18 inches of snow in the last 5 days now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know it? Murphy's Law. Dude, if I ever meet Murphy, I'm going to kick him square in his nut.
I got to hang on to all my stuff. It don't matter.
It's Murphy's Law, brother. So anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Remember, tomorrow night, we're going to talk about Bigfoot in Arkansas. I'm telling you, we had a great show on the Patreon. Join the Patreon. Last Tuesday, we talked about Bigfoot in Oklahoma. We went over a couple of really interesting cases near Lawton. We'll get to Lawton.
Who's got the radio?
Durant and Broken Arrow and Tulsa. Those were some interesting conversations we had. Lake Texoma, always interesting to talk about. That's a very weird place. If you ever get a chance to explore, that's a place to go. But tomorrow night, it's all about Arkansas, and we're going to try and hit every 50 states eventually at some point, right?
Oh, cool.
But that's it. We're going to be doing that on the Patreon. I'm fired up and ready to go. I love the Patreon. It's really cool. We had about 60 people in there, but it was awesome. And here, what we're going to do on Wednesday, we're coming back and we're going to talk about all kinds of weird stuff. Thursday, we're going to do a members only, and we're going to continue talking with my friend Kareem and talking about the Boltensian that stalked him from country to country and ultimately to Denver, Colorado. Which is this were hyena creature, a former witch doctor that was killed and was still alive, apparently, in the spirit doing evil, bad things. So that's an interesting story. Friday night, we finish up with the Shaunicles with Sean he's Under Fire. He's a great guy. And he has just, those episodes were pretty awesome. I know me and Richard really enjoyed
they're great.
recording with him. And so that's what I need to do. We need to get that done. And then Saturday, it's Wild Card Saturday, but I'm going to give everybody the option on the members only and the Patreon. We're going to vote on those two shows, and we're going to add them up, and we're going to let everybody decide what they want for Saturday. So you get to choose on Saturday. Then Sunday, we're coming back. We're going to retell some encounters. It's going to be an awesome week. And get this, I'm going to be on the air every day in the month of February. You know why? Because February is Valentine's month. That's my favorite month. That is the day that I met my wife. It was Valentine's Day. I talked to her for hours and I conned her into loving me. So that is, did I say that out loud? Sorry about that.
Well done, sir. Well done.
The month of my birthday.
Just don't go on the air when I'm on.
Okay. And so we're going to be on every night in the month of February, and Valentine's Day is a very special day. That's the day I met my wife. Like I said, I took her Dogman encounter, and I just went straight to the moon with her. And but our anniversary is not till May. But you know that's when we met. Was we really got together on Valentine's Day. It's interesting.
That's cool.
It's like, it's really scary here. Hug me. Hurry up. Hurry quick.
She came to visit me, and she just never left. Well, she did. We went back and got her stuff, and I said, look, just stay. Here's an interesting story, really quick here. I was working out with some friends at a 24-hour fitness off of Red River, and I'll never forget. My one friend, he told me, he's like, you love this girl? I said, yeah, I think I do. He goes, man, what you doing here working out, bro? He's a little black dude. And he said, you go get your girl, man. And my other friend comes up, and they're just like, yeah, you're being a pussy, dude. Just go to the airport and tell her she can't leave. I'm like, what am I supposed to kidnap her? And they're like, if she loves you, she'll stay. So I called her and I said, hey, you got this? Is a true story. I said, Nellie, have you got on the plane yet? And she goes, no, I'm standing in line. So I said, don't, just stay there. And she's like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I'm going to come get you. And then she stayed. And she's like, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. We're going to get married, I guess. And that was it. And then we've been together.
Amazing.
Did you bring a band or somebody to serenade?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, right.
That's awesome, bro. Not for real. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, I got on my knee and I said, Solati.
Solo para ti.
Yeah. No, but anyway, no, for real. No, we got married and that was it. And it's been a roller coaster ever since. And now we have a house. We have a bunch of animals. We have a ranch. We have everything. And we just work all the time. And we have fun. We do. And we do the show. She's got her channel now, Dead Zone Transmissions. I hope it blows up and I hope it becomes the biggest thing on the internet. I don't care. I really believe strongly in it. She's doing a really good job with it. Go and subscribe, please. Since it is cold outside, though, and BMR, you are the guest. It is your birthday, right? I got to send you a hoodie. I got to get you a hoodie.
Yeah, about a half hour ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Pick somebody for the. I'll let you and your friend Fidesz there pick the winners of tonight for the hoodie.
Boy.
Pick a hoodie, somebody to give a hoodie to. And Fidesz, let me have your information, and we will send you a hoodie too.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
You want me to pick somebody in the chat room?
Yeah, pick somebody to win a giveaway. There it is at the bottom. The giveaway winners, send your name, address, and shirt size to giveaway@podcast.com, and we will send you a delicious hoodie.
How about, well, no offense to anybody, I'm just going through here. How about, I'm going to go with Main House 25.
Main House says, pick me. Okay. Main House, you know what to do. There's the information down at the bottom. Send it to that email address. If you send it to my email address that I get the stories on, and I look and it's not a story, I'm probably going to glance over it, and I'll try to send it to the proper channels. But I don't deal with the giveaways. That's 2 other people. So, but so just try to make sure you send it to giveaways at prtpodcast.com. So Fidesz, I'm going to let you pick somebody now. So your turn. If y'all haven't
Pick
won,
me
let her know
because
you
I'm
haven't
in
won.
Florida and I need to wear a hoodie in Florida.
I've got too many hoodies myself.
Let's see. What about, has Diane ever won one?
Let's see, Diane.
Diane
Who is
Voss.
Diane?
Diane.
I don't know, Diane. Have you won one? Tell us yes or no, and we will.
Let's see. There's Diane Voss.
Diane Voss. Where are you
Yeah.
at, Diane?
I'll ping. Look at pings.
Diane Boss. There it goes. Diane Boss.
There, no.
She says no. Okay, Diane, you're the winner then. You get winner. And if
Yay.
you're a lady or a guy, if you want to be that, whatever. If you're a lady, we do have the pink hoodies still while supplies last. I think we still have a few in each size, but I'm not 100%. But definitely those are going fast. So if you're into the pink hoodies, those are leaving pretty quick. They're like a darker pink, but they're really nice. And we have so many different styles. You can give us the color that you want. And the different logo, we have the 2 different PRT logos or 2 different ones. So if you want a different type of hoodie or color or whatever, we'll try to accommodate you. If not, we're just going to send you what we have. But we have gray and black, we have black and red, we have green and red, we have blue and all these different colors and different. So, all right, guys, congratulations to the winners. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight's always kind of a slow night at PRT. We don't get 400 or 500 people in here, whatever, but it's always fun. I love Mondays, real chill, laid back, and I can do it from home, and so thank you for coming on BMR and celebrating your birthday with us, brother. I always appreciate it. Everybody, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, tell them when you're on, Rob. Tell them about your channel.
Yeah, no, Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Thanks to you guys if you've not subscribed. Hey, that'd be great. Get some new subscribers for my birthday. I'm on Tuesday night at 9 with Krista from the Blondes and the Booze. Thursday afternoons with Monica at 1, and Saturday night at 11 with the girls, Brandy, Krista, and Monica. So,
And tomorrow night shouldn't clash. We should be done before you get on. So
yeah,
we're
I know.
starting our,
I know you would.
our Patreon starts at 7.
I know Tex. I know Tex.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to let everybody run here. I'm going to leave Dick on last. But Matt, thank you for tuning in. Matt, we'll get to you next time. I'm sorry, buddy.
How do they do it, bro?
What is that? What are y'all doing? New World Order? What is all that?
Someone used to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Drake, I'll see you.
Thanks,
all right, guys.
everybody.
Well, thank you
Good
for
chat.
being here tonight, BMR and Fidesz. We appreciate it. And y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Enjoy your birthday. Do a shot for me, but not too much because I don't drink. So
Happy
I know.
birthday, BMR.
Thank
Love you guys.
Thanks, PRT.
All right,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you.
Have a good
See
night.
you, Rob. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Good night.
Later, Rob. So, Richard, another Monday is in the books. What do you think, man? How are we doing on Mondays? Give us a grade. A, B, C, D, E, F.
I think it's going really good, except for our little interruptions there earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say we just got to ignore that and hope that we can erase it and take it out of there.
I think the conversation flows great, man. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to say to Joel, in solidarity, I have a Hebrew weave blanket on the back of my chair here. So nobody's ever noticed that before.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what that is. So you actually you're into the Star of Rim fan or what?
I didn't know what it was until a couple of months ago, and then I actually saw what the tapestry was and was like, no freaking way. So I thought that was funny. Nobody's ever noticed that before. So anyway,
All right, guys.
yeah,
I'll see you. And
10
good
out
night,
of 10,
Rick.
nobody. It's going well. It's going really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll keep doing the Mondays as long as we can get people in to come on and talk. And
There was 9 people here tonight.
Yeah, it goes all over the place. And there were a few that we didn't, because I didn't trust who they were or what they were, but trying to mess around. But
I think it was the same person each time.
yeah, that's why they kept coming in with a different profile,
Yeah.
But all right, guys, we'll see you.
Love y'all. God bless. Thanks, Shark.
Another Monday in the books. We'll see you guys.
I don't remember. It was something coming through the door. The whispered tears, yours or mine, but pain it will only find. Wounds and wisdom, body and soul. A lifetime journey into the unknown. A broken crown, only to close my eyes, turning around in me. Slow motion death, a caravan of ghost stars falling as we watch the moon fade. Bones and wisdom, body and soul, a lifetime journey into the unknown. A broken crown, I feel the river water washing me. All the beautiful things can't be free. In the distance I see the sun clinging to the last day. Wounds and wisdom, body and soul. A lifetime journey into the unknown. A broken crown. No pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It was a beautiful war of flesh and bone against spirit and consciousness. The eternal you of memories in motion, to live once more and to die once more. Wounds and